Now there's a familiar face for the St Kilda faithful. That's Lee Fisher. He's an emergency umpire tonight. He played 55 games for the Saints, so he'll be, well, I guess he'll be hoping he comes on, but the other umpires won't be. And it's great to see, along with Jordan Bannister, recently retired players moving into the umpiring ranks. And there's a very familiar face, Lenny Hayes. Obviously a best and fairest winner last year, absolute favourite for the Saints. This game 2 years ago, a really tragic scene. There it is, Lenny Hayes rupturing his ACL, missing the entire year, but true to form, came back, ever the professional, to win the best and fairest for the Saints last year, and also had that heart condition, a leaky valve. So it's been an amazing story, an amazing career, and I think it's fair to say everyone loves watching Lenny Hayes play his football.
3 times best and fairest. What a way to get the hat-trick on the comeback trail. Still, nothing surprises us when it comes to Lenny Hayes. Trent Cotchin, wearing number 9 as the skipper. So the end of the tradition, short-lived at number 17.
All right, Brad, just off the line, straight on goal. That's a tail, Nick. Yeah, it's a tail.
This is reminiscent of last year.
Yeah, thanks. Right,
that is very strange, isn't it? Nick eventually wins the toss. Last year it was the Cousins Riewoldt tossing the coin. I don't think then anyone bothered to call. Jack claimed it eventually and ran off pointing. This time Nick didn't want to win the toss of the coin, but had it thrust upon him.
Yep.
Good player, isn't he? Trent Cotchin. I just thought occurred to me, we're talking about Lenny Hayes, terrific player, but 30 plus now. Trent Cotchin is 22-year-old. Yeah, that's why you tend to think Richmond are on the up, and you wonder whether St Kilda can reproduce the top of the perch,
really
where they were 3 or 4 years ago.
Really symbolic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just down in the Richmond rooms before the game, and Trent Cotchin, the captain, he just has that presence about him, or it's not a hint of arrogance. He's really self-assured in his own ability and where he stands in the football club. And for as long as he's at the Tigers, you reckon they're in pretty good shape.
Yeah. He'll drive them.
What about
the umpires tonight? Chris Donlan, Nick Foote, and Jacob Mollison. An interesting harking back to last Saturday night, talking about quality players on the ball. They ran into one of the best in the business. It's St Kilda, Gary Ablett. That was as good a game as I've seen for a long time by an individual. And it makes you think, I thought about it while I was watching, Tom, what Geelong have lost and how they've made up for it. We saw them a couple of days later.
Well, I guess it was the comments around Gary going to the Gold Coast. He won't be the same player because he doesn't have the players around him, but he's a rare talent, and we saw it there for all to see last Saturday night. So the Saints have that on their mind. They've got some really good midfielders they're up against again tonight. So I wouldn't have thought Gilbert would go to one of the prime movers for Richmond tonight.
No, I think Jones will get the job on Cotchin, no doubt about that. But when it was a really humid day, a lot of cramping, a lot of dehydration late in the game, Morris is obviously going to take Milne. It's going to be interesting to see how St Kilda can come off that really debilitating Saturday night game.
Bit feisty down there on the forward line for the Saints. Friday night football, umpire Donlan officiated in the 2011 grand final, bounces it down out of the middle, controlled though by Richmond. Hand pass from Tuck to Cotchin. Cotchin drives it inside the forward 50. They come from all directions, almost marked there by Dempster. Gets a hand pass away to Jones. He was dragged down, comes to Gilbert, tackled by Riewoldt. King on the assist, and we'll have a ball up. I think, no, holding the ball. Well, things have changed.
Ball was up here.
I bet he needs to make an attempt.
Go through, Don.
Well, he needs to make an attempt.
It's always a really good sign when your forwards lay tackles early in the game inside the forward 50, particularly from your key forwards. Sam Gilbert had an indifferent night last weekend, and that's not the start he was after this night.
You wonder how he could have made an attempt when there's about 3 sets of arms wrapped around him. So, yeah, I think that was a fortuitous free kick for Jack, but got a chance to get his first goal on the board for the season.
Well, if the arm is a piston, neither one had any chance of going forward there. They were just snapped on. Still, Riewoldt, goalless last week, hangs this one out to the right. He kicked a goal after the siren at quarter time last week. We don't count that. He was busy in the first term last week. Found the football, but couldn't find a goal.
He's got a good record against the Saints. He's kicked a 6, a 7 and an 8. Stephen. A perfect night. It's so balmy here in Melbourne. Good crowd has built up. The stakes are high. They always are, I know, but they feel like Wade Chaplin. Wonder what he thought about Port Adelaide's performance last week. Martin Back to Cochin, and then to Martin. Off the step, that's a probing kick, getting it very deep. Was over Riewoldt. Geary held up so well, and then Fish had it jammed away from him. Montagna gets it from Gilbert, and it's a good kick from Montagna to Meister at half-back. Back to Montagna. So he comes off the suspension. One of 4 changes tonight. Riewoldt, so quick movement. And just touch there off Stephen, the player. Lee, just want to ask you about the Saints bringing 4 in tonight. You know, 3 from injury. I know Schneider's it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you're just never quite sure what pre-season they've had, and it seems like, doesn't matter who the player is, unless you're cherry ripe, you can't last long at the tempo the game is now played at.
Big guys lock up. It falls in front to Tuck. Scrambles it forward 15 metres. Ball comes back towards half forward for Montagna. Hand pass from Riewoldt across to Robert and goes down towards full forward. Well, he pulled the chair out from under the defender there, just stepped around him, looking to make body contact. Batchelor went back, just didn't find the body, and Meister stepped in front to take the mark.
Just see Batchelor there, just take his eyes off the footy and put his eyes to Meister and lost the trajectory of the ball.
So Meister, directly in front, 15 metres out, should kick the opening goal of the night, and he does.
So there's the Richmond skipper, Trent Cochin. Couple of touches early. As Scotty Waters said, Clint Jones has gone to him. Stephen Morris playing on Milne, who's always a danger for Richmond. And Armitage and Tuck look to be going together as well.
And gee, what about Meister? I mean, he took a mark at half-back and then went down and took the mark 30 metres out. So Martin, a couple of early disposals for him. He's such a long kick. He's kicked that to space. King and Geary. King did very well. He's got a bit of toe, we know that. So back to Martin again. And the youngster just has to hold it up. It's a good kick. Across the ground. Deledio to Chaplin. That's, well, Marich waited, didn't he? And McAvoy was able to cut it off. Martin again getting involved. Good hands. Now Deledio's such a long kick. That was Jack Riewoldt giving it to him. Goes to, rather, Jack Riewoldt at the back. Giving it to him. That would have been clever. It was Pettard giving it to him. And Jack Riewoldt takes the mark. Gee,
that's a good sign for Richmond. He often looks for body for some reason in the marking contest, Riewoldt. He always plays at his best when he just leaps at the footy and tries to just completely ignore the defensive opponent. So I think he's happy playing a bit closer to goal than he might have been in round 1 against Carlton.
Well, he missed the first. He should get this. Coleman medalist 2 of the last 3 years. So more goals than anybody else in the competition at the end of the home and away, and that is his first goal for the season. So the Tigers slip with the lead.
This was the first time that Richmond have really driven the ball in long. They just in this really early stage of the game, they seem to be going sideways a little bit across the middle of the ground, and then finally they've gone in deep.
Maxi's with us tonight, Nick.
And Bruce, there's a really interesting matchup down forward there. It's actually Blake who's gone to Riewoldt, which I didn't think that had happened. I thought Fisher would go to him. Fisher's gone across to Vickery.
It's the value of having a presence when you're second tall with Vickery. He's really obviously took some bounds, leaps and bounds last week.
So Jack Riewoldt gets an early goal after the opening behind. 65 goals last season. And his second Coleman. Hayes spinning through trouble, kicks it down towards half forward. Stanley's got it, lays it off. Sipos kicks inside the forward 50. It wanders down towards the pocket, and punching away it goes out of bounds. Well played by Batchelor.
There's a bit of a runaround happening in the St Kilda forward 50. Morris is picking up Milne, and Milne's going to Hooley, and Sard's in there, and they're just trying to work each other out at the moment.
Boundary throw in, 40 metres out from goal. Marich, strength, directs it down to the wrong guy, though. Armitage, who played very well last week, to Jones. Jones, who fell out of favour last season, sends a high ball down towards full forward. Grigg gets a fist on it, and Hooley takes it across the boundary line.
So Scotty Waters telling Richo before the game that he felt Jones would be the man, mainly for Cochin. I noticed a moment ago that he was with Tuck for one of the contested bounces. So McAvoy over the top. Heard the umpy. Marich got to Tuck's ball first. Conker, one of 5 top 10 draft picks in this Richmond team tonight. So against Vickery. Now Montagna, long kick.
off the ball.
What's happened with that matchup? Jones is playing on Cochin around the middle, but he's not going to go into the forward line and play defence when Cochin plays deep forward, which is right at the moment.
So that kick to centre wing and a boundary thrown. Riewoldt up the ground.
Speaking of Cochin deep, just shows the flexibility and how much they missed Dempster last week against the Suns. He would be just as capable playing on a Vickery and a Riewoldt, but takes Cochin deep in the square.
What a good player he's become, Dempster. A legacy of Ross Lyons. Came down with him from Sydney. Hayes, meantime, has got a free kick after the boundary throw-in. Looks inside, nothing on. Wants to go down the line. Denied again. Del Santo, they're playing a dangerous game, but it comes off, and that's a beautiful kick. Mind you, the guy on the lead knows how to do it. Riewoldt looks back towards the middle. That's a pretty good kick. Well, Newms didn't go at it hard enough. Well played by Morris. Came to Edwards. Easy to say up here. Opportunity for Grimes. Gave it to Hooley. Across to Grigg. Back to Grimes. Runs outside the defensive 50. Grimes gets it again. Got it from Grigg. Runs away. Kicks beyond the wing. It bounces down towards half forward. They haven't got their most nimble pairings down there. That's the Tigers. Levan's just given up. He's backed off. Del Santo kicks nicely. Finds Stephen, who wants to go immediately. Scuttles away. Kicks inside the forward 50. Meister from the side, too late, belatedly. And the free kick will go to Batchelor. There was the single Tiger in that contest. There were a couple of Saints at ground level. Straight to Stephen, to Hayes.
And again, Hayes, well, he should have taken that one, Riewoldt. He's been very good early. And that was probably the easiest one he's had. Rance wide. Saints in the right spot, though. Dempster, Jones. We know he's a lefty. Out to Montagna. He's been busy early. Montagna spears a kick to centre half forward. Vickery got up high. Has to release the footy in a hurry. And that ball, now Tuck sort of threw it out, but he did okay, didn't he? And then Grigg gets a bit on it. Montagna underneath it. Contest coming, though, from Conker. And then Jones and out of play.
Well, it's not easy for either team going inside 50 at the moment. Grimes is loose for Richmond, but when he had it out on the half-back flank before, all he could do was kick it straight to the loose man for St Kilda, Robertson.
So live and interactive, what do you reckon? Has the premiership window closed for the Saints? Well, could they make something of it? Del Santo, one of those great veterans. Blake, another one. And now to the Hayes, probably the daddy of them all in one way at this club. And a boundary free kick, and it'll be the Tigers. And the short one by Martin O'Kay to Edwards. Didn't he have a terrific year last season?
One of the most improved players in the competition, no doubt about that. Goes towards centre half back with confidence. Delidio gives it to Hooley, feeds it forward to Conker. Alongside the centre circle's probing kick, directed though, and the mark is taken by Geary.
Back to you now.
So back come the Saints. Great to see Sam Fisher back. With a fumble there as he was about to release the ball, but got it to Newns. Newns goes around the outer side wing, reaching over the top. Rance, powerful fist, got it on the deck. So end-to-end stuff at the moment. Morris gave it to King. King runs to the wing, kicks to the 50. Timely fist. Robertson played it brilliantly, then found it. Runs away from McGuan, gives it to Geary. Geary just outside the defensive 50. Well, the way this is going, we're at match point. Here's Morris running down towards the 50, hesitates. They'll try a new angle. That wasn't the one. He kicked it to Riewoldt, surrounded by Tigers. Well played, Chaplin, tackled by Montagna. Ball rolls loose, picked up by Rance. Plenty of Tigers around the scene, though. Delidio gives it to Morris.
It was a long rally, wasn't it, Dennis? It was one to the other. They were finding the opposition perfectly. Fisher, Edwards. Edwards so competitive there. Armitage involved as well. That ball still not out. Now, finally. Delidio did so well. Martin to Grigg. Grigg careful. Good kick. Conker. Up and about Conker. That high draft pick. Ready now to think they have a big breakthrough season. Chaplin. Long. And he's got a good leg, Chaplin, hasn't he?
He made the distance easy from outside 50. Couldn't keep it on line. So I think every St Kilda player should be looking out a little bit for Chaplin sneaking into that 50-metre area.
Well, guys, a positive for the Saints. Saw them last week up on the Gold Coast. Their intensity is a lot better tonight. You can already tell.
So they bring it out of the back pocket. Dempster the high ball towards the wing. Meister was hit in the face there. Jackson able to knock it across the boundary line. So a throw in. Richmond lead it by 2. Riewoldt and Meister the goal kickers. Scott Waters coming off those 12 wins last season. Ball comes to the back of the pack and Cochin down towards full forward. Good mark. Dempster.
Saved the day there, Dempster. Trent Cochin left hooks.
Day still to be saved. Edwards, Riewoldt, 2 goals. Oh dear.
Well, I certainly jumped the gun. I thought the Saints got away with one. They actually left Trent Cochin all alone at that previous boundary stoppage that brought the ball in there. But Jack Riewoldt's forward intensity so far. He's had a tackle, he's had a turnover, he's up and about.
He's had 3 shots on goal too, Tom, for a couple. So it's a good reply here by the Tigers after the Saints got the opening goal through Meister. Robertson looked pretty good. Chaplin, clever mark in the end. So Martin's so busy in this opening term, and Richmond starting to open St Kilda up a little here. Grigg got it from King down the ground.
So he played that for it was worth Grigg.
The ball's gone, Lenny, and then you've got him late. No.
The umpire's marker tends to be, does the ball come off the boot? And I guess it is a step late, isn't it, I suppose, although the contact
Didn't make a hell of a lot of contact there.
Grigg was going to make sure that a little bit of contact he got was well seen by the umpire.
We know Lenny does hit hard. Maybe just the wind that comes off him knocked him over.
Yeah.
He's never kicked a goal against the Saints, McGuan, because he's really been a defender who's gone forward in the last year. One of those defensive forwards that have become so popular in the competition and doing a good job and spearing it home. So suddenly the Tigers get a rush on here.
We'll just have a look at this this contact. I don't think there's any high contact, it's only body to body, so that's clearly okay. But if he had hit him with his shoulder and his head
by taking off the ground,
then he's probably in trouble, but didn't do so.
Margin 14 points. Tigers on top.
Holding Nick Del Santo.
The umpire, Del Santo, gets a free. One of the more silky players in the competition. Looks inside the forward 50, sets it to space. Sard comes out, had it fisted away. Well played by Grimes, got it well clear. Opportunity for Geary, lost the football, spills across towards Tuck, who left it behind. Del Santo, who started this thing, goes down towards the pocket, sliding in Milne. They need something special. One of his specialities from the pocket right here, darting away to his right and hooking it back. Away he goes. Oh. He's done it before, but not that time. (3-2 to 1-1). 13 points the margin now. Short one to Chaplin in the pocket. Always a solid player with Port Adelaide. Just what they needed back there to help Rance out. And with Grimes there, suddenly some height in the defence. Running it up is Martin to Jackson.
Jackson, good kick. Grimes has settled well, hasn't he? Damien Hardwick talked about just how highly he regards him prior to the opening bounce tonight. Neat kick. He'll feature at half-time, Grimes, by the way, with Alex Rance.
Good patient build-up here by the Tigers. The importance of kicking efficiency, just hitting your targets, maintaining possession.
So one captain to the old captain, Cochin to Newman.
Big McAvoy's back straight in the middle of the 50-metre arc, so the long kick will go straight to the St Kilda ruckman.
McGuan, and there you go, Lee.
Should have been a coach, Lee.
Yeah. The aerial view helps.
Well, he was right there and did take the mark. Nunes.
Play on!
Goes short, intended for Jones, slapped away. Conker onto the loose ball, feeds it back. Grimes plenty of it, most of them uncontested though. Goes to the pocket, and McGuan did very well. He hit that pack hard. That ball was arriving quickly. He was coming quickly from the opposite direction and took it cleanly.
It's a good choice for a defensive forward. Here's another turnover. That's just enough to get the ball turned over. But McGuan at that taller than average height demands a bit of respect as a defender. So he's not just there to put on the tackles. He can actually take a contested mark.
Well played by Jake King right there. Getting across, giving up on nothing, getting a hand to it, knocking Newman's kick to the ground. And as a result, McGuan a chance, but he hangs it out to the right. Just watching Jake, he was having plenty to say down there after he got involved as well. He's an even-tempered player, I think, is what you can say about Jake. He runs out surly and stays surly.
He's different, isn't he?
Yes.
Morris and Gilbert. speak of him. So bubbly, effervescent. That battery never runs out. Jackson. Gee, that's a good kick off that. Step to 4-4. Oh! Again, is he?
Jeez,
What a mark.
We spoke before the game about Richmond trying to get more variety in their forward 50. Now, Vickery hasn't touched the ball yet tonight, but McGuan's got a couple of good marks. Riewoldt's got a mark and a couple of goals. So all of a sudden, that's exactly what Richmond want, that each week, one or two of our forwards are going to be the man. Last week was Vickery. This week it's Riewoldt and McGuan.
That was a scream. It was a good kick, Jackson, because he was... the angle was perfect. Yeah. He got enough on it now, McGuan. Well, he can join Riewoldt here, and this is a great patch for the Tigers if he converts. And he does. So Richmond have kicked 4 goals in a hurry here and have put a space between themselves and the Saints.
It's always nice to watch when someone jumps on a pack. Terrific timing. Watch the ball into his hands. Would have hit him in the face. Got his eyes behind his hands, which is where they've got to be.
Well played by McAvoy. Watching the man. Then got his hand to the footy. Delidio tracks it inside this centre square to tuck. Conquer. They're feeling it at the present time, these Richmond players. Ooh, putting their head down, looking for a free kick. That's a dangerous practice. Oh, he's very lucky. Jackson's lying on the ground, breaking away as Conquer. Tackled as he went to mark that ball as McGuan. He'll get a free kick.
it's a good matchup for Richmond. We know how valuable and damaging Sam Fisher is as a running defender. And we just see
like he ducked his head in. I mean, I think on the...
That was the
second one, not the first one. Yeah.
That's a dangerous practice to try and win a free kick that way, isn't it?
Sam Fisher looks like he needs to run at the moment. Only played 1 quarter of football this pre-season, and she's struggling to pick the tempo up at the moment.
Best to equal his career high and move to the top of the Coleman, if you don't mind. Luke McGuan on a tear. That's enough to stop him. I should stand on the mark. I've said it before.
Would you be a bit mouthy on the mark, Dennis?
I think I would be. I'd be confident. Charge more for knife throwers. Away comes Dempster.
Bit shaky there, Dempster.
I don't know what he did. He fumbled the ball.
To McAvoy, to Robertson. So Robertson, the ex-Docker, left foot down the line. Not a bad kick. Nunes couldn't quite. And now the Tigers through Delidio and Edwards. There's some poise about Richmond at the moment. Armitage in very well. Dempster brought down. Armitage in the back. Should have probably got one there. Jack Stephen heard the umpy. Robin will go back to Montagna. Montagna's had a productive opening term. Martin, the big scorer, though, in this first quarter for the Tigers. That's a sloppy handball by Stephen. Back to Robertson. That's a poor handball as well. To Nunes. He did break the tackle and then kicks the ball high and not all that handsomely. Meister did very well. The advantage and Riewoldt gone. Drops it down.
And that's the way to endear yourself to your new teammates.
That was, I mean, he was unlucky that he got ran down from behind. That can happen. But then when you get frustrated and lose your cool and give away a 50-metre penalty, that's something I'm sure Nick would like to take back.
He just hesitated for a moment, didn't he, when they called the advantage and lost his momentum and got caught.
No stranger to that. Pettit comes through, kicks inside the forward 50. Dempster comes up and claims it. Line goes back to that grand final. Heath Shaw running him down in the goal square. A sneaking librarian. The ball goes towards the outer side. Chaplin, big over the top, powerful, worth a kick. Well, Newms in the opposite direction. Carries it towards half-back and kicks to half-forward. Oh, clever. Now Malira's away. It's a question of accuracy. Have to go and meet him, does Rance. And that's what happens. Over the top to Stanley, and he kicks the goal.
Particularly this situation here when Malira's running into an open goal. Rance knows his opponent's with him. I don't think you can attack Malira. You've got to try and almost make him kick it from 20 metres out rather than from the goal square where it's an absolute certain goal.
So an important one for the Saints after 4 from the Tigers. Marriage belting the ball forward. And now Montagna. Rance and Riewoldt, what an interesting matchup. 2 men at different stages in their careers. Gee, Rance in very hard, and so was Geary down low. That was good stuff by Geary and Rance.
Talking about deja vu, Bruce. Remember Rance down in front of our commentary position on a Saturday afternoon? Yeah, clash of heads. Courage.
He's a brave boy, isn't he? So, big fly coming from Jake, from King. Riewoldt sits and waits. Didn't do that all that well. Jones. Moon's getting a bit of it. Not a good kick, and that's 50. Oh, it's not, okay. Thought Newman might have got a 50 there, but not to be.
So Chris Newman across half-back then. His side up by 15 points. And in control as he goes out wide. Marriage gets fingertips to it. Can't control it. It goes out of bounds. Approaching quarter time. On balance of play, the Saints, I think, would be reasonably happy. Thrown in, knocked down by Marriage, taken by Cochin. By his standards, pretty quiet. Hooks it down towards the 50. Coming out was Vickery. Came hard too. Opportunity for Gilbert. Can the Saints get a late goal? Hayes goes out wide. Montagna, who started the game so well, tracks it towards the wing. Gives it back to Nunes. Now the youngster needs to make the right choice here. Goes very wide. That's not it. And the ball goes out of bounds. Meister was on the move longer, coming up towards the 50. And maybe that was the place to put it. Still, we've got a boundary throw in the attacking side of left centre wing.
Marriage and McAvoy. McAvoy clearly, and then has a second go. Heard the umpire. Touch, so play on. Could give Pettit to Rance, to Grimes. He settled him well, Grimes. Important ball here, one-on-one. Jackson and Stephen. Good give. Martin up to 10 disposals. Vickery. Back to Martin. Now he's a long right footer, we know that. He couldn't get the angle, in fact got too much on it. And Riewoldt was waiting, but it sailed over his head. And I'm with Dennis. I think Richmond would feel like they should be slightly further in front here. So
I'd be telling him at quarter time, if you got the space, just drop the ball to the top of the goal square, because in the air, the Richmond forwards look like they're going to be able to outmark the St Kilda defence, but they've been a little bit slow, I think, getting it in there long and deep quickly.
That's a very precise kick from Stanley. Found Dempster close to the boundary line. Milne lurking, as he often does, just in behind the pack. Takes the mark low down. Clock showing just over a minute remaining in the term. Milne. That's a terrible kick. Bounces to Cochin. Feeds it back to Chaplin. Still plenty of time for a late goal for either side. Right now, momentum with the Tigers. Courageous mark by Robertson. Ghosting across the front of the pack to take the mark. Slow to get up was Dempster. Meantime, the ball is on the outer side. Armitage inside this last minute of the term. Goes to Gilbert. Gilbert marks and plays on. Well, he'll go long. Malera not as tall as his opponent, and as a result had it knocked away, but a chance. It ricochets to Sard, weaves his way through and gets that late goal. Well done by the Saints.
The Tigers would certainly be disappointed with these last couple of goals. It's meant they've absolutely dominated the midfield of the ground and used the ball through the corridor, but it's that kick inside 50 that they have. It just has to be deeper. So they're dropping it at about the 30 mark. Dempster's taken a couple of intercepts marks, and then the Saints not using the corridor. They bring it out wide and work it through there. But a couple of the efforts in the air have just been a bit lacklustre for the Tigers.
Just on top of that, Tommy, last week Carlton were able to transition from back of centre inside their forward 50. The second best in round one, and the Saints have showed that if they can get it on the counter attack, they look really dangerous. A couple of their goals have come that way.
Sard's played just once before against the Tigers and kicked 3 goals, so he's a dangerous man. We know that, and they've done well here, St Kilda. A couple of late goals, and they've really closed it a bit. Pettit couldn't quite get it out to Ledio or to Stephen, and then Chaplin. Marriage. Back to Deledio. So suddenly the Tigers are on the back foot coming into quarter time here, and the Saints are charging back. Gilbert, can they take a mark? They do.
And he can go. To Sipos.
Well, he'll get the trip, Sipos.
Yep.
So what an interesting 3 or 4 minutes here. I mean, Richmond seemingly with a 3 or 4 goal lead at quarter time, and now it could be cut back to less than a kick.
Got to take your chances. They've had 9 scoring shots. Richmond for 4 goals. St Kilda could be 4 goals, 1 going in. Enormously valuable part of the game. Can you take your shots and make them goals?
Well, it's a very long kick. And there you go. Didn't get it. did not get it at all. So that's a disappointing result in the end. A little wry smile there, but St Kilda ate away at that Richmond lead. And at quarter time on Friday Night Football of the G, it's the Tigers by 10 points over the Saints.
29 plays, 19. And as we said, we all got the feeling Richmond had squandered a lot of opportunities in the run up to quarter time. But full credit to the Saints. They finished that term very strongly. Mark to Luke McGuan, who's booted a couple along with Jack Riewoldt. That's a terrific leap. Former teammate enjoyed it. Brad Miller. It's not his best stuff. Be a bit more expansive. Come on, Brad. We want your best stuff tonight. Let's go down to Richo on the boundary, who always gives us his best stuff.
Well, we just saw Dustin Martin was the draft pick. He's had 11 disposals at quarter time, and the thing I liked about his game is he's using it efficiently. He's going at 86% tonight. Both teams have been average with their ball use in that first quarter, especially by foot. 51% for Richmond, 58 by St Kilda, but Dustin Martin's disposals really stood out. The test for him now is to keep going. He's had big quarters in the past. He hasn't been able to finish games off. This will be a test of his fitness tonight, Dustin Martin. The other one, boys, Sean Dempster went down into the rooms at quarter time. Looked like he was having some attention on his right hand. He fell awkwardly towards the end of that first quarter.
Justin Kazitsky there. Is that a smile for the camera, perhaps? Absolutely it is.
I wonder how close he was to being selected tonight. I guess there's a limit to how many you can bring in. They've brought 4 in, but he felt like he was getting pretty close after last weekend.
Thinking back to the corresponding game last year, he did most of the rucking with Blake.
Well, just thinking, Ben McAvoy, I don't think he's been out of the ruck for a whole quarter. You're just thinking eventually someone has to give him a bit of a spell, but he's just plugging away in there.
10 points the margin then, starting the second term on Friday Night Football. McAvoy wins this one. In trouble was Tuck. Comes to Jones, sweeps it across his body inside the forward 50. Batchelor with pace, peels away, gets the ball and sends it towards the outer side wing. Jackson leads in the race. Something going on behind the play, I can tell.
Too high, Jack King.
Free kick,
Come on.
Lee Montagna.
Come on.
Kick.
Jake, go away.
Lee Montagna. To downfield back.
Come on.
Against Jake King, boys. Down inside 50 here.
Never.
Who would have guessed?
Umpire Foot has gone across there. Just 10 games of experience.
You do have to be better than that, though. I mean, the ball is 100 metres away, and you shouldn't be giving away free kicks like that.
Montagna goes along the line, finds Armitage, gives it off to Del Santo.
And that silkiness that Dennis talked about with Del Santo finds Stephen. So the Saints, good little patch late in this first quarter, now starting with a chance. Meister, Del Santo, high ball. Riewoldt couldn't quite ranch. Dangerous spot. When Riewoldt's done it, he's kicked it off the ground, and the Saints get within a kick.
Free kick to Richmond. Free kick to Richmond at the centre. No need for him to come in.
Big free kick in the middle. Yeah, the Jake King free kick and change of possession out on the wing wasn't good, but once they score a goal from it, it really becomes costly.
Do the coaches still bring that up, Lee? Would you send the message out? And
well, I'm not about sending the message out only because he already knows, but I think you make a point. Listen, we can't be doing this. It's just one of those things we've got to resist. Giving away those unnecessary 50s or those unnecessary free kicks.
Well, there's been a free kick given away by the Saints now. Marrick will get the free kick, and Jake King straight off the ground on the phone to Damien Hardwick.
So Big Ivan's got the football.
you have a look at what he's looking at there. There's not a hell of a lot of space.
Not much movement either.
Interesting, Ben McAvoy is actually standing the mark. He has conserved a lot of energy tonight by playing that traditional kick behind the play.
Now we're set to go. Long kick inside the forward 50, reaching over the top. There was Tuck. Claws after the football. At close quarters, Grigg did well. Gave it to Conker. High ball goes floating down towards the kick-off line from Riewoldt. It's going to be a free kick to the Saints, though. Vickery was the guy who's been penalised down there. Away comes Sam Fisher, goes in short. Sipos, most unlike him with that kick right on quarter time. Didn't even go close. He's such a lovely kick. Probably sick of hearing that, although I doubt you would get that way. Blasé with that fact. That wasn't one of his best. Well done by Milne. That was very good. Run down by Morris. Didn't affect the kick, though. Milne got it to his captain, Riewoldt.
He's the one who, after the goal.
Wow. So this end has been pretty kind to the Riewoldt so far.
It was stiff too, Morris there. He did the right thing. He came off his opponent, put the spoil in. Unfortunately, he got it over the back, though. And obviously, Milne getting out the back is hard to stop.
So Nick going at his second goal of the term. The last one was instinctive. This is more about technique, and it's not as good. Thumped away by Marich behind.
So 21 points was the big margin in this match in that opening term. So they've got it back to 3 here. So Richmond just a little shaky at the moment, aren't they? The way they're playing. Bachelor's kick. And a fair bit of fumbling tonight, a lot of turnovers. McGuan's been a star. That's a great kick to the running Deledio. And Deledio squares it. Good kick to Vickery. Now it's a pretty open forward line. Jack Riewoldt's in a one-on-one. You'd give him a good chance here. Blake ties him up. Free kick.
Advantage.
Conker's kicked the goal. It's a goal to Conker. The advantage given.
And you really know Vickery starting mature as a player. He doubled back on Sam Fisher, created the space and the kick. Jack Riewoldt just pointed exactly where it was and just used his superior body strength to push back. Really earned the free kick. Well played.
Fair to say muted celebrations after that goal by the guys closest to it for the Tigers. I think Jack thought there was a risk involved. Bursting away is Stephen, stumbling Stephen, got boots of ball. Del Santo couldn't control it. Edwards, great courage, got to be careful down there though. Sipos advances the ball to Stephen, to Nunes. He's going okay. Not his best kick inside the forward 50. Batchelor in trouble. Slick hands, gave it to Hooley. Hooley to Chaplin, sweeping hand pass to the 50. Well done by Grigg, gives it to Hooley. Hooley a high ball, but it gets there in time. Newman normally a very good kick. Spots a man in midfield. Edwards moments ago involved deep in defence. Drives inside the forward 50. Vickery was up. Had it knocked away. Sipos in trouble.
And Martin gets the crumb and then kicks to full forward. McGuan a chance at anything tonight. King did well. Grigg's little handball back to Grigg. Can't quite get any purchase on it. Gilbert. Well done, Gilbert, actually. It's a good handball to Malera. And Malera with an awkward bounce and then kicks it down the line. Good looking kick, but didn't get over the top. Pettit. First game tonight as a Tiger. Grigg's little give good. Conker. Martin, so productive Martin. On the left again. McGuan, well played. That defensive forward roll on the bigger McAvoy. And a boundary throw in.
Well, if you like free-flowing footy, we're getting it tonight. I think there's only been one ball up, half a dozen boundary throw-ins, and what, 15
10 tackles each.
About 20 tackles. So really, the ball is just flowing from end to end.
Bruce right on the money too, talking about Conker as one to watch. He's had 9 possessions so far in this game. He's made a very bright start. Ball spills from the pack. Edwards falling to the ground. In 2 minds, Riewoldt, and eventually decides to take it and kick his third.
Really playing in bursts at the moment, Richmond. And we saw it last week. They was really ballistic with their ball movement. They've had a couple of quick goals here. Their next stage of development is actually controlling tempo in these middle parts. They don't need to be going 110% all the time.
So 5 of the 6 goals from Riewoldt and McGuan so far tonight. Stephen getting a fair bit of ball. So the Saints again pushing up the hill. Milne clever. Armitage on the left, his favourite side. Batchelor did a good job on Meister. They've had a really interesting duel. Meister got the opening goal of the match. Hooley. Got a lot of left footers down the back now, haven't they? I was thinking of Hawthorn a moment ago with a one handball to another, and to Chaplin on the left and then to Newman. So quite a few left footers. Look at those centre breaks there. So St Kilda having a good run. That normally equates to a victory, you would think. Marich wins the tap. Edwards got down low again with Armitage. Armitage, terrific second effort. Chaplin tried to take it off him. And a ball up. It's a 15-point game.
Ruck, stay there.
Umpire tosses it up. Jones in trouble. Tackled by Cochin. Jones doing a pretty good job, though. Scrambling it out of there, Jackson. Missed by Fisher. Still a bit rusty. Sipos at close quarters to Geary right on the 50. And Geary just tugs it to the left off hands and a minor score. Uncharacteristically, Sam Fisher a couple of fumbles tonight. Rushed back into the team, though. Just having his name back there, I think, is reassuring for his teammates and certainly the supporters. Here's Grigg. Runs out towards the defensive 50. Goes short to Rance.
Short again to Cochin. Just steadying it down. Tom was talking about tempo with Richmond, and In fact, they bulleted a gate most of the time. Cochin there just slowed it down a little, and it was a good kick wide. They can set up here. Back to that man again.
Well, what they're doing, Bruce, is they're denying St Kilda the possession of the football, so they're controlling the tempo at the same time, conserving a bit of energy. And we saw late in that first quarter, St Kilda got the last couple of goals, so it's good play here by the Tigers.
Newman's kick looked a good one, didn't it? I mean, it was a spear, and found Tuck. So Tuck at half forward. Gets to about 25 metres. Vickery worked hard, and then King got down low. Can't get the handball off, and that ball's out of play. Oh, it's a free kick to King.
You come in front on, and he said, settle down, thanks. Settle down.
He almost got a couple of high tackles and eventually got one. If you keep boring in low and hard and keep your feet, then you're really putting the pressure on the opposition player not to give away the high tackle.
And Lee, he's one of those guys, when he's on the ground, you just got to give him one, don't you?
It's always either going to be a free kick to him or he's going to give one away. You know, it's going to be a stop play somewhere. Well, this isn't out of his range either.
No.
Well, he's going to go the banana, is he?
So does the check side. Oh, there you go. That makes up for that free kick.
That's a skillful finish, isn't it? And the modern player makes that kick look quite easy, but, gee, it's great ball control.
They all practice it. They all love doing it after training.
I reckon the umpire was a little reluctant to give him the hurry up too. He got more time than most, I think. He spent a lot of time on that shot, like Scorsese. The ball goes back inside the centre circle. It's falling to the ground. Tuck after it goes Hayes. Oh, well fed. Just flicks it out to accommodate Malira. Kicks inside the forward 50. Loose ball at the back. Oh. Well, trying to do the right thing was Meister. He did try and slap it across to Milne, who was lurking in the goal square, but nothing doing. It's just knocked away by a desperate defender, and that was Grimes. The short one comes into Conker, just outside the defensive 50, having possibly his best game for the Tigers. Just chips it up short of the wing. A man who's had many good ones. Delidio. Up to 10 possessions now. Kicks beyond the wing. Doesn't do McGuan any favours. Getting a fist in there was Blake. Opportunity for Del Santo. He runs into a stiff forearm coming from Tuck. No intention there. I think Tuck was trying to punch the footy and got Del Santo.
Could have been in the Scorsese movie, I think, Del Santo there. I mean, he got one, but wow. He's the full guy.
You say you played it up, or?
Yeah. So Chaplin over the line. So Tigers in a good spot. Nick just collecting his senses. What a great career. Still going strong, he and Riewoldt, along with Milne and Hayes, the veterans. A lot of footy between them now. All around that 250, 260 mark. Jack Riewoldt probably should have got a free kick. Fisher hung on to him for a long, long time there. Jones in a battle with Grigg, I think, in a ball up. Gee, Grigg and Hurley, one match they've missed between them in their third season. Both struggled at their respective clubs at Carlton and Essendon. They've been terrific.
Developing a Sydney-like reputation, aren't they, Richmond, at the moment? And Chaplin looks rock solid across half-back for them.
Roberton, who really is fitting in, drives it inside the forward 50. In from the side, Pettit knocks it away two-fisted. Perhaps could have marked it. Armitage, 60 metres out from goal. Into the path of Montagna. Can he keep it in? Apparently he does. Hooks it back across his body. Not a good kick though. Vickery has to wait. Coming through was Jones. He was grabbed by the jumper, and Jones will get the free. Well, he's doing it in both directions. Cochin just the 8 possessions, and Jones is finding the footy. Interesting, because I don't know about you, Tom, but I felt last year late he simply fell out of favour. High ball for Meister, and Meister takes the mark. Good kick too.
One of my pet hates in footy is the double-fisted punch from a defender, and I think it sends two messages. One is not self-assured in the way you take the ball, and then if you do clunk it, it just gives your team so much confidence.
I think
you know what's going to happen.
3 times Richmond in defence have actually punched when they clearly could have got 2 hands to the footy and taken the mark.
So Meister going at his second from about 35 metres, and he puts it through.
That's a great contested mark from Bo Meister. He is a very good mark, and Jake Batchelor was good last week with intercept marking, but if you can get him one-on-one, he's vulnerable. Of all the Saints, I'd be targeting that matchup going inside 50.
And Richo, it's been a pretty interesting duel, those two guys so far tonight.
Push out. Free kick.
So Had a lot of free kicks around this area tonight. Montagna, great to have him back from the Saints' point of view. Suspended in that opening round. Long kick. McAvoy had a big crack. Who's got the leg speed? It might have been Sard in the behind. So again, St Kilda pegging them back.
Interesting, just basic numbers. I mean, it would appear that that Richmond having a lot of the play, but inside 50, it's 23 to St Kilda, 20 to Richmond. Now, Richmond up getting a lot of ball around the middle of the ground and not necessarily going deep forward with it.
Pettit's kick. Dropped by Stanley. He and Marich were in the contest. Jackson held up. Little toe poke.
Oh.
Free kick, Richmond. Block on Trent Cotchin.
Umpire saw the second of them. It happened twice behind the play.
On Cotchin, didn't
Yeah.
Ivan, it's a downfield. It's an outside free kick for a block on Trent Cotchin.
First one put him on the ground, Bruce.
So here's Marich after the Cotchin free.
So Cotchin moves ahead of the play as the kick goes in that direction. Marich kicking it towards the 50, but plenty of St Kilda players there. Just kicked it to a pack, really. Grimes, confidence. Oh, came at that footy. That was terrific. Two guys had every reason to get to the ball before him, but he just kept on coming. That's a very short kick from Rance. Gave it to Deledio. He'll direct it inside the forward 50. The tumbling mark is taken by Blake. Plays on to Fisher.
Fisher's careful, kick across the ground. Sipos, there you go, off one step. He kicked it a lot further at quarter time. Riewoldt free kick. Battled hard, the skipper.
Moved well, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Kicked a couple last week, didn't he? And he's certainly playing a good game in this opening half. So the couple of injured players back tonight. Dempster to Fisher, to Blake. And then Blake's down the line, careful. Geary improving, isn't he? He's one of those players, he's a long-term project, getting better every year. He's a guy that could never play a final. He'd play all season and kept missing the finals. It seemed like Eddie kept taking his place, and now Geary, you know, 74, 75 games. You feel like he's something. Stanley's kick to full forward. Big fly came from Meister from the side. Pettit tried to get the ball off. Jones, strong body. Sipos will get hold of it now on the left. Not a great kick, though. McAvoy's in the spot, and he's got it.
Richo called it, looking just a bit vulnerable in the marking contest down there, Batchelor. He's a big lad, McAvoy, we know that.
It's a big plus. He's had his spell off the ball, and Stanley's gone on. So when your big ruckman having a rest deep forward can stand tall and take a mark or two, it's a big help.
He's a number 9 draft pick, Lee. It's his 6th season. I mean, he's right, you feel, where he should be. One of the very, very best ruckmen in the comp, and that's his challenge for this year. He's certainly the mainstay at St Kilda. He's a fine player. And the Saints keep coming back. We've got a good game on our hands now.
Just when Richmond looked like they were getting clear, St Kilda kick a couple of goals. Low-scoring game at this point. Keeping it tight.
Last 10 goals, as you saw, 5 apiece. Coming in batches for both sides. Well played by Edwards. Knocked it out in front of Cotchin. But guess who got him? Jones. Cotchin still anchored on 8 possessions. Pettit drives it inside the forward 50. Riewoldt comes hard. Oh, well, moments ago was kicking a goal. Goes back to centre half back with the flat of the footy and takes a mark. There's McAvoy that time. Gives it to Fisher. Goes out wide. Gathered on the bounce by Montagna to Gilbert. Looping over the top. Newman's in trouble. Slung a boot at it. Well done by Martin, the ball magnet in the opening term. Gave it to Edwards. It bounces to Vickery. Tackled by Geary. Down he goes. That was like slow motion. Vickery waiting to control the footy, the big fellow.
There's great intensity in this chase from Jones after the stoppage. He's really wearing Cotchin like a glove.
Trying to get inside his head, isn't he? Geary and Martin. Well played, Martin. Underarm one to Jackson. Back to Martin. Martin, yes! No, but oh, the yes bit. Woo. You don't mind a no at the end of a yes like that. It's a good kick. How many's he had, Dennis? I haven't got the energy to look.
Well, he had 10 at quarter time, 11 at quarter time, actually. He's up to 15 now, so he's cooled down a bit. Ball comes outside the 50 from the kick-off. Robertson, a half chance at the crumb. Goes again, does Robertson. McAvoy, well, taking marks, kicking goals and foraging. Comes across towards Geary, hand passes to Hayes. Hayes up towards the wing, Pettit read it better. Wider was Milne. The kick needed to come out his way, and the defender favoured by the kick. Former Melbourne player, and I would imagine glad to be that as he kicks inside the forward 50. Cheap shot. Opportunity for Edward. Sockers it towards goal. Vickery. Chance at the crumb. Hand passes to no one in particular. Taken away by McGuan, though. He's been forceful down there on the forward line. Couple of goals to his name. Playing with great confidence. That one he missed. He put it out of bounds on the full Montagna.
Just a bit wasteful, the Tigers. I mean, the scoreboard doesn't really show that.
They look dangerous if they can get it to the full forward line, but they're getting brick-walled a little bit across half forward. That's their problem. St Kilda are rebounding a lot from that part of the ground.
And now he's roving, Dennis McAvoy. He has done the lot. So, well, he's also kicked one out of bounds on the full. There you go. He's made a blue, but he's having a very big impact.
He puts himself in the right spots, and he's obviously drifted forward and kicked the goal, but he plays that kick behind, 60 metres behind the ball exceptionally well, and takes the ball at the highest point.
To think he's 23 years of age, you just feel like they've got a very good ruckman for the next decade, don't you? That ball inside the 50. Hayes down low. Handball away. Conker's been terrific. He'll kick a goal here, I reckon. He's kicked one tonight. Just missing. Remember his very first game, Conker, was the opening game of the season. Must have been, what, 3 years ago. He was a number 6 draft pick from over your way, Dennis, from Perth.
Yeah, Perth Footy Club.
He's going to be a very good player.
Jack Stephen in trouble to Montagna, hard against the boundary line, hugs the boundary line with a kick, and Meister a long way up the ground, having his way now with Batchelor, takes the mark on his chest, little chip. Mark is taken by Riewoldt. Margin just 8 points, and you'd be scratching your head if you're in the St Kilda coach's box. And you're a good judge about footy, and I'm sure they all are, thinking, how the heck are we this close? So you'd be enthusiastic going to half-time. Here's Hayes again following the boundary line, and the mark is taken by Stanley. Scott Watters, of course, spends some time with Collingwood. This strategy, no stranger to the Magpies, particularly under his mentor Michael Malthouse. And Riewoldt, that says something about his running capacity. Just remember, he had the ball on the wing, and he was the man, I think, who kicked it towards half forward and suddenly finishes up on the end of the secondary kick. There goes a snap at goal, and it's off target from Del Santo.
And Stanley came off the bench, then ran 150 metres to get it, doubled back and then went forward again to get it off Riewoldt, so it's great running.
Dan, you're spot on. That's why Nick Riewoldt doesn't mind a cap on interchange, because he knows with the less interchange, the more chances he gets to grind his opponent like that.
Yeah, good point.
Marriage, big fly, couldn't quite. Delidio. Love it when he gets the ball and runs. 2 bounces, Riewoldt and McAvoy's picked the right 2 maybe. 5 bounces, still running. Can he find a target? It was a wobbly old kick. It's a great mark by Blake.
Seeing the real contrasting styles there. The Tigers really keen to bring it through the middle of the ground, and St Kilda picking up where they left off last week by working the arcs.
Armitage. Very wide to Montagna.
Hold, Alex!
I just feel like the Saints could really launch in the second half here. I mean, they've done such a good job to be so close. No mark paid to Gilbert. So, talked a lot about Conker tonight. King, who kicked a fantastic goal in this quarter. Cotchin having a real running battle with Jones. Kicks to Riewoldt at centre-half forward. Vickery flying as well. McGuan back to Vickery. Back to Grigg. Can't quite get balanced on the left. Riewoldt, well, he's capable, we know that. And he's kicked 4 before half-time. I know they win when he doesn't kick a goal, but they're better when he does.
It's a nice finish. He knew exactly what he was doing. One step inside, hooked the ball over his left shoulder. As soon as the ball came towards him, he had already worked out what kind of shot he was going to have to try and kick the goal.
There's the bounce back in the middle then. Stanley overrun by Marriage. Crashing the pack was Tuck. Tried to get it there. Couldn't. Goes again. Still can't. And the umpire calls for it. It's either a feast or a famine when Jack Riewoldt plays against the Saints. He's got an 8, a 7 and a 6. And starting the night, had kicked 24 goals in 7 games. So the others quite barren as the ball goes down towards half forward, pushing the back on Sipos.
Do you remember, Dan, the night that he didn't want to go off the ground was against the Saints, and he didn't get a goal that night. He had the blue when he came off the ground. He'd been concussed, and that 0 didn't help his cause. But you're right. I mean, it's either a whole heap or not many.
Were we there that night, Bruce?
We were.
That's where I rely on you. Ball comes across from Newman. Pettit's got it.
Been pretty good, Pettit. First game. He's done a pretty good job across half-back. So the Tigers just with a little break here now. Long kick by Pettit. Oh, yes! What a mark! Well, he's putting on a display. That's a brilliant mark by Jack. It was jumping Jack, wasn't it?
He took one of those early in the game where he launched himself at the footy. That's when you know he's playing his best, when he's just seeing the ball in the air and actually just jumping hard at it. Whenever he does that, he's in form.
Well, Lee, this puts him in front of the Coleman if he kicks this after 0 last week. And that's their first mark inside the 50 for this quarter, the Tigers.
Yeah.
He's normally a very accurate kick. Missed one early tonight. He's got 4 before half-time. And he's just pushed it across for a behind. Maxie, you're with us. I mean, he must be a hard matchup because he's good in the air and on the ground.
Absolutely, and I think that's where most of his goals have come from, on the ground. So used to him leading up and taking those marks. Also the big contested mark, but actually tonight he's done that job further up the ground and come back to the ball.
Robertson kicks in. Off hands Gilbert, in trouble. Close to the boundary line, Meister. Well, that was a hand pass and hope, and the ball goes out of bounds. Conker hustling in again.
Thanks, Ivan.
So just 14 points the difference. Tigers haven't had value for effort. Rucks go at it. 60 metres out. Stanley reaches over the top, knocks it down in front. King, head down, goes after the footy, and I think he's going to get a free kick. The People's Champion.
Oh, Richo will be upset about that. Richo's the People's Champion, still
No
dead.
longer. No, decreed. There goes the ball down towards... I forgot about Richo for a moment. No, one of the People's Champions. Jake King sends it down towards the pocket. Dempster is hurt in that pack. Down goes Tuck. Slaps it straight up in the air. Vickery, quick hands. Conker, the impossible angle. And he kicks it behind.
Well, another late goal here would really give them the break that we feel like they might deserve in this opening half. Conker 13 disposals. Martin leads all comers with 16 so far. Delidio 14, Grigg 14. So the Saints under siege a bit late. That's a poor kick in. And we know Chaplin's a long bomb if he wants to be. Off a step, finds his target. Conker with a centering ball. Looks great off the boot and finds Newman. So it's just such a poor kicking, wasn't it? I mean, coughing the footy up.
Yeah, it went straight to 3 Richmond players, really. So Chaplin was able to mark it under place. That's really good play by Conker. He's been really good. He's got the speed. He got into space, looked inside. If there was no one inside, well, then he might have had the shot from an angle. So he's really set up Newman for a point blank, from a point blank range.
So he's the veteran at the club, isn't he? I mean, it's a new life for him a bit, Lee, isn't it? No longer the captain, probably playing up on the wing now rather than the back line.
Getting a bit further upfield.
And right on half-time. This to give Richmond well, that's a disappointing result, a really handy lead. So he's like he's over a 6-foot putt there, wasn't he? And he was frightened to hit it, but it was a little squeezy and not such a good one. But it's a handy break here. Down to you, Richo, at half-time.
Yeah, Benny, it's a pretty fast game. Not a lot of stoppages. How are the players feeling?
Yeah, it's pretty tough out here, running-wise. We'd probably like to get a few more stoppages, but over there, very good outside, and they've got exceptional skills, so we feel like if we can get in the contest, we're a shot.
You're having a good game yourself, mate. What's your role? You seem to be trying to get behind the ball a little bit tonight.
Yeah, we know we've got Riewoldt back there, and he's extremely dangerous one out, so try to get back and help out and see if we can rebound from there.
Thanks, Benny. Good luck for the second half. And we'll be back soon, straight after the break.
Takes risks.
Margin 16 points at half-time. The Saints might have to take a few too to work their way back into this game, but the Tigers keep letting them back so far. Interesting, Trent Cotchin still just the 9 possessions to half-time, so Clint Jones has done a terrific job. Dustin Martin 16 leads all comers. Lee Montagna 15 and Sean Grigg 14.
See that Richmond, for a while there, probably the last 7 or 8, I reckon, were Richmond's way almost. So in there, the marks inside 50, you know, both similar. Riewoldt's kicked 4 goals, 2 from 2 marks. He's only taken 2 marks, but had 4 goals too.
It's interesting, the marks inside 50 that St Kilda have taken 7. Well, I know we spoke about those spoils when you're uncontested by the Richmond defenders. Once you start taking those defensive marks, you really do generate a lot of confidence around there. There's been a couple of really good defensive efforts. We spoke about Jones on Koch, and I reckon young Morris is doing a terrific job on Milne as well. So the Saints have got a bit of upside in Stevie Milne if they can get the ball in his hands.
Nick Riewoldt, you saw him there. 1 goal, spectacular goal. Hacked it out of mid-air on a sharp angle and bent it through. So a couple of straightforward shots. Well, straightforward in the sense he was about 45 metres out. Not much of an angle, but didn't convert on 2 occasions. Still, it was the Tigers that missed most of their opportunities in the first half, or more of them than the Saints. Start the second half. 58 plays 42, everything to play for. Marriage brilliantly down to Cochin. There's an early touch for him. Still inside the centre circles. Well done, Del Santo. Gave it to McAvoy. In trouble, Jones. Well played by Fisher. Back to McAvoy. Hooks it towards the wing on the outer side. Now a chance for Sards in behind the defence. Misses the target with the ball, though. In the opposite direction. We saw Rance do very well, and the kick goes out wide from Cochin in the end and finds Delidio. So Cochin, 2 early touches.
Good signs. He's the sort of guy that can just cut loose in a quarter, can't he? What a young star. Delidio's kick perfectly timed and weighted to McGuan. Such an impact, McGuan, particularly in that opening term. Couple of goals. He had 5 shots on goal tonight. Big fly at the back. Free kick to Marriage. Well, they're going to mark those. If you don't, you're going to be pinged. So Marriage, 100th game tonight. Of course, 77 of them were with the Crows. But what a cult figure he's become here. Pettit, first game tonight. Another one of these recycled players. And Tom talked about the fact that Richmond doing pretty well. And he's another one with Chaplin. Like the Swans over the years, with guys that have come from another club. Chaplin, that kick, he was trying to spear it. He never quite got it. Armitage. Back to Jones, and then Jones hooking. Riewoldt covering so much ground. What an admirable player he's been for such a long time. A great player. That was Meister on Hurley. Good kick inside. And a free kick to Stanley. And now to Stephen.
It's across the ground. Del Santo plays on quickly, sweeps a hand pass out wide to accommodate the run of Geary. Then he hesitates. Eventually gets it to Gilbert from 55 metres. That's close. I think it's good. They've cleared the 2 players on the line. It's a goal from long range.
A more attacking build-up here from the Saints, bringing the ball back through the corridor, taking a bit of a risk, and Sam Gilbert getting on the end of it. They've been too wide for mine in the first half. I think that's the quickest and easiest way to go.
So back to 10 points. Montagna out of the centre. Courage from Morris. Pettit, we've talked a bit about him. He's had a lot of the ball. Hurley, who's been turned inside out a few times tonight, Hurley. Back to Delidio, back to Hurley. Did so well there to Basher. And now Edwards from Marriage to Tuck, and then Tuck to full forward. Vickery doesn't quite get a run at it. Blake did pretty well. Hard ball. Edwards buttering up again, building it forward. Vickery and Blake. Blake and Vickery. And now the ball still now coming out in a boundary throw in. Good contest.
It's a great tackle by Blake. He knew obviously he was behind Vickery, so he just made sure he didn't fall on his back. He basically turned sideways from the tackle from behind. That's exactly the technique, not to give away that free.
10 points the margin then. Montagna in traffic. Couldn't get the kick off. Tucks on top of the footy. And the umpire calls for it.
And that last bit of play there, Dan, you saw the Tigers actually carry the ball through the midfield. That's what we spoke about at half-time.
Marriage with the backhander. McGuan had a good game. Quickly onto the boot from Cochin. Just drifts across the front of goal. Gilbert, who got the Saints' last goal, feeds it off to the runner. That's Blake. Comes out wide. And it's taken by Meister. Blake runs on. There's a short one back towards the middle. Meister flirted with the idea. Instead keeps it on this side. Nunes has grown into this match. Fisher kicks it down towards half forward. Riewoldt launches himself in front. What a terrific mark. Off balance. Trying to get him off balance was Rand. Succeeded, but still the champ took the grab. Chopped off, though, his kick by Cochin. Exposes the middle to the Tigers. Martin kicks inside 50, taken by McGuan, kicking at his third. And that's a shocker. Out of bounds on the full.
Well, his last 2 shots on goal have both had the same result, actually. Out wide and missed the lot. So he's had 6 shots tonight and kicked a couple of goals.
And Dustin Martin getting involved there. Had the 11 touches in the first quarter. Was a little bit quieter in the second. He's certainly a key to their forward drives.
Cochin early disposals in this third term. But the Saints have got the goal through Gilbert, and the match is tight. So McAvoy, pretty careful kick. Gilbert again involved. Griggs handball cut off. Jones, such a feisty competitor. Meister. Formerly Wilkes, of course, and a former Eagle.
Stephen Milne has come off the bench, running to the goal square on his own.
And he might get it here, Richo. Malera held up, though. That was a great mark by Malera. He is a spectacular player at times. Now Milne getting involved. Kick not to his advantage. Well done. It was Hayes getting through. Milne couldn't quite. Chaplin, heavy traffic, Petted. Handball out wide. Newman, who missed a good chance at half-time. Martin, Petted a lot of the ball. Kicks to a one-on-one.
McGuan out of position, gets into the back of Newnes. Oh, no, blocking. Was that called blocking?
That's one you'd want to take back.
Newman goes short and he finds Jackson. So the guy in front has to go immediately at the footy when it presents itself. There's Jackson. Kicks inside the 50. Drifting back, though, the mark is taken by Dempster. Similar situation to which he blotted his copybook earlier in the game. Kicked into the man on the mark. It cost them a goal. Takes on the man on the mark this time, aided by Montagne's Shepherd. Kicks it short of the wing, getting a fist in there, Rance. But he knocks it out of bounds.
What do you reckon, Den?
Well,
he took his eyes.
Yes, he did, didn't he?
Good call. Very good call.
Umpires never get it wrong. I don't know why we bother. Boundary throw in. Because what we do is exactly that. Geary gets a hand pass across towards Stanley. After it goes King. Stanley falls on the pack. The umpire lurking.
Could be holding the ball.
I think so. Well,
one or the other.
Yeah. They certainly break them up these days. King.
And King's broken up St.Kilda here by getting it to Chaplin. Now Griggs on the wrong side and run down. So the handball not to the advantage in him because Grigg, a left footer, got onto the wrong side. Gee, Malera's up and about a bit. Maxie talked about him in half-time as one of the keys. Gilbert, and just brushes aside Hurley. Handball's a bit sloppy. Well done, Chaplin getting back, and then Hurley did well to Morris. Back to Tuck, back to Morris. Morris, good kick, Marriage. Marriage will look for the runner. Conker, slow handball again, sweeps it. Morris off a step, looks up. Riewoldt, good play. Transition footy, one end to the other.
Great play by Morris, wasn't he? He set it up on half-back, kicked it in, got the receive handball. That's really hard running.
Just really clever kicks as well. Just dropped his eyes on two occasions. A lot of play, and that's been the part of their problem coming through the middle of the ground. Richmond is just bumping it long to 40 out, but dropped his eyes, pinpoint 2 passes, and Jack's got a shot on goal.
Just Jack there a moment ago. Never runs hard at the ball, Riewoldt. He runs slowly at it always, doesn't it? Just then he...
I don't know whether he's got a burst of speed to drop off his opponent on the lead, to be honest.
Well, this for a handful, and that's what he's been tonight, again, against the Saints. 6 goals, 7 goals, and 8 goals in his last 4 matches against them, and he's got 5 tonight, and Richmond kick away.
It makes a difference when you can run the ball and deliver it from maybe that 60 metres out. It really means the forwards can get into space. Only takes a good kick, good lead, got a set shot at goal.
Biggest goal haul of the season then. 5 guys got 4 in round 1. Armitage got the ball from Del Santo, kicks inside the forward 50, but the mark is taken by Hooley.
And there's the difference between a mark and a spoil. Just stops the ball dead, rebound straight away.
Tuck knows his limitations, gives it to Martin. Martin towards half forward, pitches in front of King, who pursues the footy. Geary was coming, overran it. Stephen kept going at it. Now Sard, little chip inside the 50, and the mark is taken by Riewoldt.
That all comes from the skill error by Martin, who actually dropped the ball at the feet of King rather than actually the easy chest mark. That just creates the turnover. It's still a game of keepings off, isn't it? You've got to be able to maintain possession.
Yeah, and at ground level, you sense that the Saints are just sort of hanging on at the moment. They're starting to drop off a little bit, but a skill error gets you right back into it.
8 marks to Nick Riewoldt. This kick is on the way, and that's better. They answer with his second goal.
Good finish. The Cousins are playing pretty well, aren't they? I mean, 5 at one end, 2 at the other.
It remains a tough match-up, Nick Riewoldt. He does make his opponent earn his stripes.
Well, a really good battle here now. This match has settled into. We had bursts of goals, didn't we, in the first half, but now it's a bit of tick-for-tack, one and then the other. Conker back. Chaplin's been very good. That handball out wide. Tuck. Gee, he and his dad have played a few games between them now. Now Newman, clever. Got rid of Nunes. Normally a good kick, Newman, and Vickery on the end of it.
High! Arm on the shoulder. High. Mark's here. Go through. Thanks, Jason. You with me. Clear right out.
It's tough, Wizzle. He's a very tall man, Vickery, so when he's leading out in front, it's very hard for the defender to get any near above him, so a little unlucky. I mean, it's probably a little high across the shoulder, but fairly marginal, I would have thought, that one.
15 seconds.
He kicked 3 last week, and can he get amongst the goals with Riewoldt with 5 so far, and McGuan with 2? Part of that 3-pronged tall attack. Good kick. It's a good goal, and Richmond again kick away. It's just one of those nights, isn't it?
You see Tyrone Vickery has kicked that goal, gone straight into the ruck. McAvoy's been really, really good tonight. Big centre clearance, this one. If sense the Tigers are just about ready to try and break them, but the Saints are hanging in there.
Tigers 2 of the last 3. The man who kicked the last one, Ty Vickery, battles for the football, didn't succeed. Montagna hooks it out wide, going back with the flight of it. Pettit did very well, banked on taking the mark there. Had he spilt it, that could have been very awkward. He's up to 15 possessions. Not his most memorable. He bounces it out of bounds. Now, the umpire says throw it in. That could have been very embarrassing.
Stay 1 metre. Tie.
It's going okay back there, Petto, but he's not a terribly precise kick-off halfback, so he's always a turnover waiting to happen, I reckon, when he kicks the ball out of defence.
Neither ruckman touched the footy. It's still bouncing around in there. Eventually putting the head down and trying to burrow through. I think it was Jackson.
And back on Pet Udley, that's really his go. If he's a half-back and he's not the sort of locked-down defender, he's got to use the ball well to keep his
He's almost playing the spare man quite often when St Kilda dropped one back.
Sort of came in for Nahas tonight. I know they play in different positions. Deledio fending off. Nahas have played 47 consecutive games before tonight.
Well, Pettard's mainly played well as a forward at Melbourne. That's when I've seen him play his best game. We see Mark Williams there on the coaching staff.
I was lucky enough with Tom to be with him at a function at the MCG. It was a great day too with Stephen Goff and Choco. Well, he was. I'll get back to it in a minute. Cochin to Hooley, because with Choco it always takes time. Good half volley by Newman inside to Hooley's run hard with Sard. It is a multicultural game these days, isn't it? And then Tuck gets it from. Gee, that was an interesting handball from Newman. And then the quick kick away by Dempster, still in danger. Jakey King looks up, careful little kick, a good one to Newman. Well played, King. And Newman, who missed one from about this position. I said to Mark Williams that day, Tom, you know, what are you actually going to do, Mark, on game day? And he said, don't worry, I'll be down on the ground running around and chatting like crazy. And we just saw him then.
Yeah.
One of the best developers going around in AFL footy. Mark Williams has had a profound impact on a lot of players, and from what you hear, having a significant impact on the players like Dustin Martin, the young players coming through the ranks at Richmond.
Bruce, it's interesting there with the Richmond forward setup. Quite often your best player is about 50 metres down the line. Jack Riewoldt's actually across and being on the fat side, so he can actually work back behind the ball.
Good stuff, Maxie, and a good goal to Newman. And Richo might be right. They might be making the break now.
There's Nick Riewoldt on Alex Rance, but interesting, the last few minutes there, Nick went behind the ball at the stoppage on the wing. You feel like as a leader, he was going back just to try and slow this game down and get some momentum back for the Saints.
Del Santo gives it to Jones, high ball half forward. He competes here, does Riewoldt, clever use of the body. Gets it forward, lucky, but Milne kicks a goal.
Doesn't need much space there, Stevie Milne, does he? I think the job that Morris has done on Milne to this point in time has been outstanding. You'll see in a replay how hard he chased to get a fingernail on him, but he just watch here.
Good finish, wasn't
yeah,
he? He really knows what he's doing in the forward 50. Stephen Milne only needs a a half chance. But I mean, Riewoldt's going okay, but he's the St Kilda forward that's most likely to get a lot of shots at goal. But Morris is preventing that tonight.
Yeah, the 6 disposals, the 1 goal. Morris has got all the physical attributes of a really good long-term shutdown small defender.
So they keep on hanging in. Milne's first goal tonight. He's on 548 goals. Only 38 players have actually kicked 550. He's 1 goal behind Dacos and Treadray. So he's in pretty good company. Edwards out of the centre to centre half forward, and Riewoldt's got the mark. Well, he's becoming, if he wasn't already in that first half, the key to the match, isn't he? I mean, getting marks inside the forward 50 now.
He's got his eye in, and he knows where the ball's in the air. He's confident, and he's going hard at it.
He likes playing against his cousin's team. 8 goals the last time. Before that, a 7 and a 6 over the last 4 times. And does he get 6 here tonight? He has. So he's got 6, and Richmond again kick away.
Just willing it through. It feels good. Feels good when they come off the boot like that and go through.
Last 10 goals right there. Quick reply coming from the Tigers. After that strung a few together. Cochin in trouble on his knees, tries to dig it out. Well played by Hayes. Kicks inside the forward 50. Over the football is Milne. Slaps at goalward. He'll be the first to arrive. Putting their head down. Malera looking for a free kick play on the call. Tuck crawls after the football. He was taken down by Stanley. Knocked forward by Rance. Picked up by Cochin. That's a clever hand pass. It was intended, I think, to lob in the path of Hooley. Man came across on the angle. Dempster. In there is Conker. And the umpire has called for it.
There's Dustin Martin. He's gone to full forward, and that's a matchup the Tigers would like. He's isolated inside 50.
Del Santo. Cochin turned around. Newms was waiting. Knocked forward there by Hayes. Down goes Malera. Trying to get it out of there. Pettit. Eventually it's grabbed by Tuck, who kicks it through midfield. Coming up to meet it is Blake, and he was held. I think he's going to get the free kick. Just bear in mind the Tigers led Carlton by 36 points 8 days ago at 3/4 time. Similar side in some respects, probably not as talented St Kilda these days as Carlton, but good midfield and some smart, very quick forwards.
Sipos's kick, half cut off, Hurley boundary throw in.
Just a few players starting to look a bit tired. Often happens in the first round, and all the early rounds, I should say. The second half of the third quarter, it really does just become hanging on, survival of the fittest.
Warm night tonight, no sun obviously, but it's a pretty balmy night. Marrich's kick caught forward inside the 50. McGuan, Robertson, who started really well. McGuan back to Deledio. Deledio gets a fair bit on that with a good hook towards Vickery. Well played, Blake. Nunes just had to wait for it. McGuan with that stronger body, and McGuan, who's been pretty wasteful, to be honest. I mean, he's played really well, but he's had a lot of shots, and he had the handball to Vickery on there, and he went for the kick.
Adams run over the line and the kick in.
Okay, so back for a bounce. So
Must kick it clear of hand or foot.
He actually handballed it, he didn't kick it.
What happened?
Snyder's got the vest off, guys, so can't see who's going to be subbed out at this stage.
Tuck, a half chance off hands, went to ground very quickly. Well picked up by the big guy in there, McAvoy. Vickery slaps it wide, taken by Conker, and Conker has missed. But they increased their lead to 24.
I can't believe he did that. I thought he must have stepped over the line. I looked away for a moment.
I think he'll get the tape on Monday and have a laugh himself. I think that's.
Well, that is an area of concentration, isn't it? That's a shock.
Sam Fisher had his problems with Riewoldt tonight. Neil Young said it best, rust never sleeps, and Sam looking a bit rusty, but what a star he's been. Here's Montagna, hard against the boundary line. This ball short of the wing. Oh, what a good mark, Meister. Wow. He is a goer. Mature age recruit. His last club was the West Coast Eagles after he battled to make it there. Ball on the outer side. Cochin against the tallest Stanley. Gilbert lays it into the path of Stanley. Stolen away by Cochin, who came back willingly into the fray. Now a chance for Gilbert on the ground. Something's going on, and I think Cochin make it a free kick.
Held down then.
Against Dos Santos. So Cochin with the footy comes across and finds Hooley.
Had a good quarter, Cochin. So Hooley, I think that was a big turnover. The Saints were away. Batchelor out wide. Morris. A lot of ex-West Adelaide players out there tonight for both teams. Morris, one of them. The Bloods in Adelaide have been a good lifeline for a few of these players. And kick to half forward. Good mark going back. Not paid to Dempster. Bit stiff. Marriage taps it down towards Edwards and then free kick to Edwards. Schneider's on the ground. Here's Martin on the end of a lot of handballs tonight, and why not? Because he's normally a very good kick running and carrying. He asks a lot of Vickery. Was that in the back? No. Ball comes out the back. Newman can go. No, decides not to. And then with an awkward handball, Gilbert down low. Still Gilbert. Martin wrestles it away. Looking for a free kick. Grigg. Jackson in hard, so is Nunes. Little give by Sard. Del Santo to Geary. And then to Dempster. Gee, it was a bit flumby in there for a moment. And now the Saints maybe. Armitage with a little kick to Riewoldt. They need a goal.
Sipos is out of the game, boys, for
Riewoldt coming off a brief break. Forward of the wing. Here's a well-weighted kick onto the chest of Stanley. Finds himself 60 metres out. Demands something of Armitage. And Armitage, like he was fielding in the slips, had to go and find that one and did remarkably well. Looks back towards the middle. That's an interesting kick. It gets there. Barely the 15. And the mark is taken by Hayes. And Sipos.
Well, if the man of the mark's anywhere near 15 metres from Armitage, he's lucky to be 10 metres from where Armitage kicked the ball from.
So Lenny Hayes. Huge kick, this one, in the context of the game. Margin at 24, and Lenny just hangs it out to the right and barely gets it home for a behind. So 23 now inside the last 4 minutes of this, the third term.
14 disposals for Hayes tonight, so pretty quiet for him. So he's a lot of pressure on him, a lot of attention. Delidio to Grigg to Delidio. He's such a beautiful mover, Delidio, isn't it? It's a great kick too to King. So King on half back, and that's an interesting, dangerous kick. And the ball comes St Kilda's way. Jones sweeps it to McAvoy, to Jack Stephen, and then Stephen. Good kick off the boot. Gets to Fisher. Can they break the line here? They're on now, the Saints. They really need to make something of it. Nunes with some time. Goes to a one-on-one. Mace. In fact, it was a two-on-one. And that's a good, courageous mark. Gee, Pettard's had a very good match for Richmond tonight. Showed a lot of guts there. And then kicks the ball back towards Jackson. But no, cut off by Fisher.
That's better. Sam's got the footy to Gilbert. Gilbert forward of the wing. Nice looking kick too, and he finds Milne, who did the hard stuff, and the ball fell off his chest. Batchelor, a little chip, and the mark is taken by Jackson at left half back. Just wants to settle it down momentarily. St Kilda making one of their frequent surges, approaching three-quarter time. Kicks a high ball towards the wing. Stanley very athletically in from the side, just pops it across towards Jones. Jones, the defensive side of the wing, then needs to be precise, and he was. Schneider started as the sub. That's a good kick. Opens them up in the middle. Blake to a runner. Gilbert cruising past. Tries to pull it back. Beautiful kick. Sard thought momentarily it was his, but the skipper called him out of it. And he's taken this mark about 30 metres out. Well, he needs to kick this one.
The great forwards just keep presenting, don't they? Every time there's a bit of time and space in the midfield for St Kilda, Riewoldt is getting on the end of the kick. If the kicker was able to find him, always just keeps getting there.
Game number 240 for the champ, and that's a good one. He's got 3. The Riewoldts are shooting it out.
Well, Schneider has just come on. Immediate impact as the sub. That kick to Blake was what sets up the goal, but Richmond would be disappointed. Letting a defender get goal side like that through the corridor, that was sloppy manning up.
And Richo, we're thinking Schneider could make a big impact here in the second half of the match. He's a very good player and he'll be fresh. So here goes Jones. Can the Saints get another one here? Inside the forward 50. It was Grimes at the back. Malera didn't quite take it. He had sort of worked out what he was going to do before he got it. And then Armitage belting forward. Rance, Riewoldt at the back. Can he get a fourth? You betcha. They got 10 between them. The Cousins. He'll be joining us on Sunday for Carlton Collingwood up here in the box with Lee and Dennis. And boy, he's had an impact here. 3 third-quarter goals to the champ.
It's a defender's nightmare, that one, Rance. He didn't really attack the ball with a hell of a lot of conviction. Sort of came with a bit of hope and got the ugly bounce from Nick. Nick's been fantastic. I think from the very start of the game, he's been up and about and moving really well. And the Tigers just be kicking themselves with these late goals leading up to every change.
One part of the game's not been so good from the centre bounces. That's where St Kilda have been pretty good.
His best against the Saints is 5, round 16 of 04. 5 times best and fairest. They don't give those away, particularly in a side that's been as good as St Kilda in recent times. Breaking through the middle is Stephen. Kicks inside the forward 50. Knocked away desperately by Morris. Attacking the football meister. Down he went. Back comes Grimes. Tackled by Malera. Ball in dispute in there and it's not coming out. Quick whistle. And the umpire will go in and ball it up with about 42 seconds remaining until three-quarter time. It's gone up a notch. You can sense it. And St Kilda can sense they're in with a hope here. Out of the congestion, scrambled away towards the outer side by Martin. Diving in there was Gilbert, and he thumps it out of bounds.
It's amazing when Richmond have tended to be fade quite often. Gives the opposition hope that they might fade again, so you just can keep pushing, which is what's happening here.
Give the Saints their due. They haven't stopped trying. They've kept on coming. With strength, McAvoy lays it down into the path of Hayes. Ran into a dead end. Hacked out of there by Tuck. Taken by Dempster. Chip out wide, too wide, out of bounds on the full.
Probably not enough time, as Dempsey's been a bit scratchy. All-Australian last year, first game this season. Hayes hard with Newman. A couple of veterans together. So we're set up for what should be a fascinating final term here. Richmond have made all the running, but St Kilda are close enough. Just thinking about the Riewolds, it's very early. They're equal Coleman medalist leaders at the moment. They've both got 6 for the season. Nick got a couple last week. Jack's got all these 6 tonight. Real rivalry there between the two, isn't it? It's like if Jack's going to do it, Nick's going to make sure that he just about matches him. St Kilda so admirable in this late stage of the third quarter. And that ball towards Stephen and then Newman. And Stephen's little toe poke forward. So a good comeback. All seemed lost when Riewoldt got going. 6 goals for him, 2 in that third quarter, but 3 in that third quarter for Nick. So 10 between the Cousins. And at three-quarter time in the big Friday night match, the Tigers lead the Saints by 11 points, but all to play for.
I would imagine a pretty nervous huddle as far as the Tigers are concerned. They lead 84-73 at three-quarter time, bearing in mind last week they finished on the fumes of their fumes. They just staggered across the line against Carlton. They've led at every change tonight, but St Kilda refused to go away. Let's go down to Richo.
Thanks, Dennis. It's been a brave effort by the Saints tonight. It's important to know that they have come off a 6-day break, whereas Richmond had 8 days. The game up in the Gold Coast last week was played in hot, humid weather, and towards the end of the game they had a dozen or so players cramping in their calves. At three-quarter time then probably a half a dozen or so of the Saints players were getting massage work done. Only one Richmond player, Alex Rance, is getting work on his hamstrings. No surprise he's had to chase Nick Riewoldt around. Richmond should have more run, but it's been a brave effort by the Saints, and if they get up, what a win it'll be.
I'll say. Star-studded game, a lot of big names in it, and the Riewoldts have put on a show. The Cousins at either end of the ground, 6 to Jack, 4 to Nick. Nick has pushed a lot further up. Can he keep on going? He's the focal point on the forward line. Game in the balance.
Centre bounces 18-6 in St Kilda's favour. They're killing Richmond in this part of the game.
So crucial, this first one. First goal, so important.
Opening bounce then. Marich decisively. We've got a whistle from a long way away.
Back here? Yeah.
Cochin, I think, will get a free. Being held, obviously. So Cochin who played no role in getting the footy out, gets the kick alongside the centre circles, goes very short to Marriage. So Marriage barely beyond the centre circles, just pops this one up in the air, looking for some tall timber. He didn't have Stanley in mind. Stanley took the mark, plays on immediately. Dempster, now Geary running it up, draws a man, pops it over the top. Milne hard against the boundary line, goes down towards half forward. That's a beautiful kick. Malera had his moments in this game. Malera feigns a hand pass, then he goes. Montagna hard against the line, creates space for Malera. Poor kick to end it, and it goes straight to Rance.
He's a bit streaky, Malera, isn't he? I mean, that was a good example of what he can do, and then just blew it a bit with a poor kick. That one close to the line and out of play. But that pace of Malera and Sard, can that play a factor? Can Schneider be important here? It might be ridiculous to say this, but you feel like Richmond have got a lot more to lose than St Kilda tonight.
Yeah, given that they've been well in front again, always looked like they had the ascendancy, but St Kilda just keep nipping away.
So Stephen, well done, doesn't quite get the right angle and out of play. Nick Maxwell.
And Reece Stanley's actually behind the ball, so they've only gone with 5 forwards, the Saints. You saw that mark that he took just before when the Saints, when Richmond went forward, so could be dangerous there.
So boundary throw in. There's Reece. Working in front, Marriage directs it down. Half chance for Milne. Well done by Cochin. Didn't he lift in the third term? 11 possessions. This ball goes out of bounds.
Boys, Brandon Ellis has been brought into the game and Tyrone Vickery has been subbed out. So they've gone for a run, taken a toll off.
Boundary umpire is straddling the 50. Working in front, McAvoy taps it down into the path of Del Santo. Dragged down, Malera found a way through into the path of Montagna. In the opposite direction was Rance. He won't put in a short one. Now across the line goes Delidio, and there was a bit of space between he and the closest Saint, with the umpire no hesitation in giving the all clear. Delidio outside the 50, then falls at the back of the pack.
Geary to Riewoldt, back to Geary, has to arch his back, does it well, kicks the ball to a hot spot, look good off the boot. Oh, Meister. Del Santo probably could have taken it, was called out. Morris can't quite break Montagna. Slick hands by Del Santo to Schneider to Robertson. Out wide, Gilbert. Can he get much on the left? He hooks back. Delidio, good mark.
Interesting subplot with that substitution. Obviously, Vickery coming off. It really does make it a one-man forward line from a key position point of view for the Tigers. Riewoldt's going to have to kick another couple to really ice the game for them.
I feel like St Kilda got to get a goal out of this. They're pushing. I tell you, it's hard to read Malera at the moment. He's hard for his teammates to read. He's just blown a couple of really good chances. That long ball forward from Martin, Jones and Cochin. Blake, Jones. Normally a careful kick, Jones, and he's Schneider. Tonight he equals the number of games he played for the Swans. So 98 games for both St Kilda and Sydney. A lot more goals for the Saints. Of course, a premiership player with the Swans. He and Dempster. As Stephen held on to. Tuck. Chaplin doesn't get the handball. Stephen's second effort was good. Martin. Montagna, well done. Morris under the pump from Montagna. Pettard off a step. Kicks to space.
Schneider again. Gathers the footy right at the interchange gates. Goes down the line. There's experience. Didn't rush it. Found Del Santo. He kicks to grass too, and sliding in, Sard takes the mark. Oh, there's an air about St Kilda at the moment. The Tigers not taking enough care with the football, just as they did against Carlton in the final term, rushing things when they don't need to rush.
He's got to run out of space here, Sard. He likes the Dennis Silly run up.
I reckon he would have spent all summer in a park somewhere with a stopwatch in his hand walking.
He'd be halfway back the stand if he took his normal run.
He's a changed man. Still very deliberate, to say the least, and the kick is on the way. He took the care. He gets the result. He's got 2.
So deliberate. I mean, anyone up here want to change their tip? We've all been Richmond all night.
Yeah, well, I must say the Doomans will be there with Richmond. The fact that they just struggle to play out close games.
Oh, back in the Tigers still, Bruce. Need to win. Just have to stand up.
So Jackson. As Dennis said, they've been really wasteful with the footy in this, particularly in this quarter. Been banging it away. Robertson, Schneider, Well, he hasn't had a lot of disposals, but most of them been very, very good. He came off the sub bench, of course. Montagna looks up, kicks to centre half forward. Rance breaks the line, almost run down by Sard.
Sure.
And again coughs it up. Robertson, can Riewoldt get to it? Oh, great courage from Ellis, the sub. Well done, Schneider. Those subs are getting involved. Ellis kicks the ball forward. This game's got up a notch. Gee, Edwards' half volley was brilliant. Then tries to check-side it. Jack Riewoldt worried out of it for a moment. Down low, Edwards and McAvoy. Ellis gets in hard. Stanley gets in hard. Riewoldt's there. It's a tug-of-war. And there'll be a ball up, 50 out. The Tigers attacking.
Well, boys, Richmond, we talked about who would have more runs. Saints short break. Well, at the start of this quarter, they've had 21 uncontested possessions to 9. They're getting out in space better than Richmond at the moment.
Tigers by 4 points, clinging to the lead. After the bounce, Cochin in there. Conker overran the football. Out wide, a chance for Riewoldt. Frisked almost there by Rance. Comes back towards Riewoldt, running out of space. Shrugs Rance off, gives it across to Hayes. Hayes bombs away, and the mark is taken by Delidio. They need some old heads here just to settle things down. Probing kick. Out of position, Riewoldt. That's Jack. Punched away by Stanley. Taken by Robertson. Robertson almost holding the ball in there. Play on's the call. They were lucky. Now a scramble, and the umpire calls for it. Well, would have thought Robertson didn't dispose of the ball correctly.
I think Lee had his whistle to his mouth for a moment.
Yeah, he gave him a lot of leeway then.
Newman. Grigg bounced off Gilbert. Back to Delidio, who can go all the way. Doesn't quite. Oh! Almost. Wow. And then Jake puts on the tackle. Wow.
That was a pinch up,
wasn't it?
That was Gary Moorcroft, wasn't it?
It was Gary Moorcroft. Yeah, little fella jumping the top of the pack.
He will relive that for months and months, just wishing just put a little bit more grippo in his mitts.
Gee, if he'd taken that, I reckon we've all gone to heaven, don't you?
That's your specialty, calling that one, though, isn't it? You did Moorcroft, didn't you?
Well, I didn't take the mark, but I called it, yeah.
That's more important, calling it, Bruce. You know that.
Just took his eyes off the footy at the last minute.
Tuck goes to Riewoldt, but no space in which to operate. Stolen away by Robertson. Chips at about 5 metres. Standing his ground, backing through the pack to Delidio. Hand passes Goldwood. Nunes comes in, grabbed by McAvoy. Kicks it towards the outer side. Riewoldt and Rance approach the footy. And it runs away from the pair and goes out of bounds. Oh, wow. Throw in. Only the second week of the season. Well, the third week, technically. There's Delidio, but we've had some thrillers. Kick inside the forward 50. Thumped away by Gilbert, who charges after it. Oh, terrific. Inspirational. Gave it away to Armitage. Armitage over the top to Meister. Ellis brought him down, affected the kick. And as a result, Morris able to get on the end of it.
Played that really well. Chaplin was the player who set that up. He was the anchor defender for Richmond, which enabled Bryce to read the kick and just sit marginally in front of Milne. Well played Richmond defence.
Morris goes to Chaplin.
I feel like Chaplin could become a very important player for the Tigers.
Well, because Stanley's doing the loose man back the other end, Chaplin gets a chance to do that for Richmond.
And he normally uses the ball pretty well. The Tigers couldn't get that goal against Carlton the last quarter. Now they're sort of stuck. They're stuck here at the moment on 12 tonight. Conker, terrific first half. Good
Off
kick.
the bench, Cochin. It's come off the bench, boys.
Gotcha. 23 minutes since a goal for the Tigers. Now the captain, he doesn't know what to do here. Gee, Schneider's been important. He corralled him really well. Cochin will get it back though, and he can run and carry. He's a good kick. Well, he was a good kick. He was nearly within
No one
range.
really presented though. Marriage came at him a little bit, but none of the forwards really made the move into space.
Dalsano was so casual there. Back to Cochin. Cochin over the top to Jackson, who's a long bomber, and again doesn't get hold of it. Important McAvoy there. Still the ball in dispute. Riewoldt, they're over the top of him. He's got a free kick, Jack.
Straight over the shoulder. Clear out.
It was clumsy, wasn't it?
Yeah, just the left arm. Left arm just came a little bit over the shoulder.
Well, he's only kicked more than 6 goals on 3 occasions. He's got 6 10 times, including tonight. He's got a 7 and an 8 against the Saints and a 10 against West Coast. This to get 7 tonight for only the 4th time in his career. This is a massive kick. It is a beauty. A high 7-8.
Well, the Tigers last year lost 6 games by 2 goals or less, and Trent Cotchin only in his 2nd game as captain. This is what he needs to bring to the club. The game's there for the taking. 10 points. Really time for him to stand up.
Well, what about Meister being required to do the rucking in there? Certainly giving away some size, but the Saints almost cleared the ball. Snaffled, though, by Conker, who kicks inside Richmond's forward 50. At the back, the first back is Dempster. King has other ideas, though, works his way to front spot. There's a snap and a wonderful goal by Newman. Oh, no.
They were celebrating.
Didn't they get up and about?
Yeah.
Wow, had they got a goal, think of the celebration.
Very highly celebrated behind that one.
I'll say. Stanley to bring it in then. Apologies to all concerned, supporters of both teams. Stanley kicks it outside the 50. Bounces obligingly for Marich. Worked off it by Meister. Put down by Riewoldt. The bodies go in willingly. Picked up by Jones. Hooks it up towards the wing. Awkward bouncing footy for Milne, who's been quiet. Between Morris and Cotchin, they win the footy. Cotchin kicks back inside the forward 50. Big jump there from Gilbert. Fisted to a dangerous situation. Grigg to Conker. Conker 52 metres out towards full forward Stanley.
It's got better as the game's gone on, Stanley. Maxie talked about the role that he's been playing. Kick out wide. Saints still a big chance here, you feel. Dal Santo, clever kick. Jones now. Meister's on the wing. Here was a slow kick to him. It was a very good effort coming off the back line by Grimes. Loved his game first up tonight, Grimes. I think Richo, what did he play? 3/4 only for Coburg. Is that right, Grimes?
Yeah, that's right. He's played a half and then 3/4, so hasn't played a full game yet.
And straight in, and Dimmer talked about the importance. Martin got it from Conker.
Stanley again. Across to Fisher. Breaking hard. Malira. They'll have to go there. It's the only option. Malira will get to it. Takes the mark at right half back. Long way from goal. Robertson surrounded by Tigers. The kick was precise. It found him. He jabs it across towards the middle. Nunes. So just for the moment, the ball in the hands of the new boys for the Saints. Not really what they need. That's a good kick, though. Gilbert, he can run off half-back now. Nothing deep for him. So he scrambles a kick in towards centre-half forward. That was not good. Opportunity, though, for Schneider. He's been very handy and effective since coming on. He finishes up with a footy. Flicks a hand pass to Del Santo. Over the top it goes. Montagna waiting for contact there. Keeps it alive. Stephen gets away, beats 1, beats 2, hand passes in front, chopped off by Batchelor, works a little 1-2 with a teammate. In the meantime, we've got a whistle, and it's going to the Tigers downfield.
Chaplin!
So against Armitage by the look of
You're
it.
free.
Downfield.
Troy's kicks, greater advantage, okay?
Clear out, Jack. Jack.
Gee, they had a chance. Stephen just sort of ran out of an idea almost in the end. He sort of hurled a teammate and just ran out of room and ideas. So a bit of relief for Richmond here. That steady leg of Chaplin's. Marich. At the back of Marich was Stanley.
Something engrossing about the game when players are heavily fatigued, because it's a matter of who can push their way, you know, through that extreme tiredness. There's something engrossing about it, I reckon.
Are you editorialising,
well,
are you?
I just love the fact when it gets to this stage, it's as much about courage as fitness.
That crowd, 56,000 is a beauty. It's actually the second highest home and away crowd between these two. Nunes gets it forward.
Oh.
Mark not taken by Pettit. Morris, Pettit's little give. Chaplin through traffic off the side. And a good mark by a strong body and Tuck. And now running hard. Again, they got mixed up a bit. Marich back to Tuck. Tuck off a step to full forward. Fisher, Riewoldt, lurking free kick.
When the wrestle this time, Jakey King should have launched for the
shove.
For the hanger.
Yeah.
He's in good form.
Yeah, the biggest crowd of these two was on Queen's birthday, 98. Oh! And McGuan, who's taken some rippers. Gee, Brad Miller will be tweeting.
That was a poor kick coming out, wasn't it? Showed far too much of it to McGuan. From 55 metres now, that's a telling kick right to the goal square, spreading himself with Stanley. It's a live ball, but slapped across the line by Blake. So the margin 2 straight goals now. Still plenty of time, just under 8 minutes, but if Richmond can get the next one, that may be enough.
And Dennis, the mindset of the extra play is very interesting. Stanley's been in a lot more contests than what Chaplin has. Chaplin's probably 2 kicks behind the play, where Stanley's really 1 kick every time.
Your advice would be for Chaplin to push up a little?
It's just the concept, just up to the individual, I guess.
There goes the kick from Robertson outside the defensive 50. Rance from behind, intent on destruction, got a fist on it. It skids across his knuckles and goes out of bounds.
They had a draw in this round a couple of years ago, these two teams. So a couple of kicks away from maybe that happening. That was the night that Lenny did his knee. Riewoldt didn't kick a goal. That's Jack because he was concussed and injured. That handball's poor by Jones. And Hurley, little give, tuck.
Lenny Hayes high. 50 metres.
Gee whiz, this is a huge turnaround, isn't it?
Yep.
So Richmond going forward inside 50 for shot on goal. And then Hurley for that.
The high tackle, yeah.
And 50 metres, of course, because the kick away. So Lenny.
The ball might be there before the players pushing back. The fatigue, they know they've got to get back, the Richmond players, to block that back 50 to help out down there, but not a whole lot of legs pushing down.
And Tom talked about Hayes at the start of the night. They're an unbelievable recovery, really, from what happened here 2 years ago. Here's Schneider.
Oh, that was fantastic. He's the freshest St Kilda player on the ground, and he pushed the hardest, doing exactly what he has to do, Schneider.
Nick Riewoldt on the bench at the moment. There goes the kick downwards, full forward. Clears the pack, stays in. There's the spare man that Mick Maxwell was talking about. Chaplin across to Rance, under pressure as he kicked. All Saints as the ball runs towards the centre. Robertson on the left boot, lunging at it was Jackson, still inside the field of play. Armitage taken high. This is no easy kick though for a left footer.
There's 1 on 3 there, Armitage. Really unfortunate free kick by the Rance, I think it was. Just had to get a bit lower, even just take him out. Worst possible result.
Monaco say no easy kick this for a left footer. Generally, with the exception of Buddy, they bow from left to right, away from the goals here. Well, he allowed for it and a bit more. Out of bounds on the full.
Well, just a shocking result, really, wasn't it? He needed, well, maybe the little give. Stephen was looking for the handball alongside, but short kick, dangerous kick. St Kilda with a chance to keep the press on here, and Deledio runs it out.
Even a behind would have been handy there.
We're going to find out a bit more about Richmond right now, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a good test for them. They've got the lead. It's a close game. Can they remain composed, hold on to their lead? Great test.
Because they didn't really do that when they beat Carlton, did they? I mean, it was more
just
Carlton missing the chance.
Yep.
So let's see if they can play with some poise in the last 5, 6, 7 minutes. Nunes tries to lock it in. Gilbert's had a good second half. Jones off a step to fall forward. No Riewoldt, of course. And the mark, a good one taken by Ellis, who's thrown himself in, coming off the subs bench at three-quarter time.
Here's Greg on the outer side.
Hey, Tom, is this where you need to just hold on to the ball, don't play fast?
Yeah, I think we saw against Carlton, Richo, last week that they play such a ballistic style, the Tigers. You just need to have some cool heads, some calm heads out there. No better person than their skipper, Trent Cotchin, to set the standard.
Hayes did well twice. Got it across to Fisher. Schneider. Stephen, he's lifted in this final term. He's 75 metres from goal. Lowers the eyes. And Saad takes the mark right on the boundary line. Now he's a sharp shooter, but again in the wrong pocket.
I reckon he's a better chance than Armitage.
Yes, so do I. Yep.
He's so skillful, this guy.
He kicks straight, isn't he? Just run straight, kick straight, everything in the straight line.
16 minutes since St Kilda's last goal, and he got it. Tight on the boundary. Plumb lining this one. Kick is on the way. Oh, he's hit the post.
He's become a pretty important player, Saad. A couple of goals for the match, one in this last quarter. And as Dennis said a moment ago, that point could be important. Maybe, 2 minutes earlier would have been handy, wouldn't it? But still time. 2 kicks now to win, not to draw. So Deledio down the line, Marich and McAvoy. McAvoy, half a handball. Cochin, like the captain we talked about, breaks the line, looks up. Steady kick towards Riewoldt. Taken by Martin. We know what a long kick he is, wobbling the ball forward. Who can win the foot race? That's what it's come down to. The Saints have got the numbers. Jack gets in hard. Still with Jack Riewoldt. He's played it pretty well so far. Flicks it out the back. King getting involved. Martin puts the tackle on. The Saints can't afford to make an error. Well done, Stephen. Dennis has talked about his last quarter. Well, will he be pinged? I hope not. No. He did it so well. Gee, it was a great contest.
Well done by Jack, eh? Just to tie it up and buy some time, but the cavalry didn't arrive in time.
The skipper, Nick Riewoldt, has just come back onto the ground.
A last hurrah then. Just under 4 minutes remaining in the game. Hayes slips a hand pass to Armitage. He couldn't hang on. Ball up outside. Richmond's attacking 50. 11 points the difference. Nick Riewoldt back on the ground. 4 goals alongside his name. Dempster in trouble. What a final term it's been. No strangers to this sort of drama. Tigers supporters. Opportunity there for Conker, did well, but not the right man getting the hand pass. Marich stood there like a stunned mullet, there we say. The ball comes out towards the wing. Throwing his boot at it was Riewoldt. Chance for King. Runs inside the centre square. Gives it to Ellis. Ellis, nondescript kick. Bounces the ball to Dempster. Remonstrating down there is Riewoldt. That's Jack. I know there's a few of them on the ground. Nick's got the football now. He's at left half back.
And dare say a few of them are watching too, Dennis, around Australia. Or might be here at the ground. So Riewoldt to Hayes. But there's not a lot of energy at the moment. How can they summon something? Oh, Gilbert tried the slips catch. Now he's got to find it. Now he can't give it free. He's got to get it out. Deledio almost got the free. And then Edwards, the boundary line will be good for them. Fisher keeps it in. They've got to take a chance, the Saints. Good tackle. Montagna started really well. It's better. To Schneider, we've talked about his influence. Dummied the handball, now uses the run, but he runs into a brick wall. Montagna, back to Schneider, back to Montagna, out wide. McAvoy, one-on-one. Conker's going to win it, I think. He does. That might be the ball game.
It was wonderful. Conker ran in a straight line, so did McAvoy, but Conker ran quickest. There's Griggs' kick inside the forward 50. Oh, wonderful courage by Blake. Hacked off the ground there by Martin and through for a minor score.
Don't think they can lose now, do you?
No.
Saints surely won't have 3 scoring shots. And that one is out on the fall. Stevie struggled tonight, hasn't he?
Really well held up. We've spoken a bit about Morris's game. He's a really good, true, gritty back pocket.
And Cochin for the 6th consecutive time, 4 last year and twice this year, 30-plus disposals.
9 to half-time, Bruce. I mean, that's pretty good. We know he's an explosive player. Had a long fuse tonight, but eventually it was lit. Deledio inside the 50, getting a hand on it. Stanley deflects it. Conker, what a wonderful game he's played. Running better than possibly anyone on the ground. And he had the finesse to somehow find Marich surrounded by Saints.
That's great play by Conker. Just watch him think his way through this. Looks the hands, no, looks up.
Oh, he had to thread the needle, didn't he?
Yep.
He did it well.
Yep.
Any score should put down any thought of St.Kilda snatching this one in miraculous fashion. Any score. But Marich intent on kicking a goal, and he does.
Well, he's got to be the most popular player since Richo. And I mean that sincerely. They just love, I mean, I know that he's only played 20-odd games, but they love him, don't they?
He has been a fantastic pickup.
What a difference he's made to this team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they struggled in the ruck. You get one good ruck when it just gives you a starting point for your competitiveness.
And I feel like tonight we've seen a player emerging, Conker.
Yep.
You just feel like he can really go on and be a very good player now.
Yeah.
It's Good age profile for their midfield, isn't it?
Gigantic psychological hurdle being jumped tonight by Richmond. To keep going and win.
And their last 5 minutes has been pretty good, hasn't it?
Very good.
Marriage up to win it down. Diving after it in there is Cochin. Dragged away from the footy. Hayes gives it to Stanley. Drives inside the forward 50. Going back is Rance. He thumps it towards the boundary line. And out it goes. And we talk about marriage. I mean, that really is what sets Richmond apart, certainly in the last couple of seasons. Identifying their needs and recruiting to them. They've done it very well.
Well, even looking off the numbers last year, they were very good at restricting opposition ball, but leaky down back. Pardon me. So they bring in Chaplin, stabilises them really well. He's been great.
Here is Marriage. Cochin couldn't quite. And then Stephen to Hayes, who hasn't stopped trying. Well, he never does he? But the Saints are going to come up short tonight. They've battled hard from the back all night. Stephen short, Armitage. Can he bang the long goal through? And just missing. So the Tigers go into the 8 after this round. You've got to go back to round 5, 2008. So here's Armitage getting a little kick on the head. And we know that they haven't been 2-0 at the start of the year for 16 years. It's an amazing drought that they've been through. But maybe it's the start of something really big. The Army will be gathering after tonight. Yep, Richmond break a barrier. That guy gets 7, and they go to 2-0 for the first time in 16 long years.
Away from Tigerland, a fighting fury went from Tigerland. In any weather you will see us with a grin, risking head and skin. If we're behind, then never mind, we'll fight and win. Away from Tigerland, we never wake until the final siren's gone. Like the tiger of old, we're strong and we're bold, for we're from Tigerland. Yeah, we're from Tigerland.
Well, I know Carlton are the arch enemy, but this is more satisfying, I reckon, in so many ways. Richo's on the burst at centre-half forward, as he's been so often in the past at the MCG, and he's on his way to the captain, I reckon, as he makes his way through. And I think he's going to run down Trent Cotchin. 30 disposals again tonight, Richo. It was a big win and a great job by the skipper.
Yeah, it certainly was, Trent. They made you work hard tonight, the Saints, off a 6-day break.
Yeah, they certainly did. Credit to them. They've always been a strong defensive side, and they took it up to us, but we were good enough to respond and have a good win.
First time for 16 years Richmond have been 2-0. Does mean a little bit for this group.
Certainly does. I mean, confidence is priceless, I suppose, Rick, and to go 2-love up in the first part of the season is obviously confidence building for us, but we've got to make sure that we set ourselves for the Bulldogs, who played really well last week, and I'm sure they'll put in a good effort again this weekend.
Reece Conker stood up tonight, probably his best game for the football club, do you think?
Yeah, he's been fantastic, Reece. He's really applied himself to his contest work, and that's starting to stand out. So exciting times for us, but we've just got to make sure we keep a level head.
Nice birthday present for Sunday too, mate. Very good. We'll get Jack in here. Well done, Jack. Thanks, Rick. 7 sausages. That's pretty good, isn't it? You happy with that?
Look, mate, yeah, just got on the end of a few tonight. Probably the most exciting thing was Jake King nearly taking mark of the millennium. So I had a good chuckle about that. But I think, look, over the pre-season, mate, we've been in tight games through most of them. Obviously, the Blues came back last week and we've been able to hold on again. And Big Ivan stood up. What a goal at the end there in his 100th game. And that's all we're about. New blokes coming out of footy club and winning their first games and getting off to a good note. So, look, we're no illusion. We're 2-0, but we've still got a long way to go. We've got the Bulldogs next Sunday. And they nearly beat us in the NAB Cup, so we're going to have to put in a pretty good performance.
Now, be honest, 0 goals last week, but the coach pumped you up. 7 goals is a lot better. Now, don't go all team orientated. We all like kicking goals.
Yeah, Rick, it's the first time in, I think, 3 years I've actually kicked a goal in round 2, so look, happy to get a few on the board, mate, but ultimately we're out with the 4 points, and the Tigers faithful. It wasn't one of our home games today, but they came out and outnumbered the Saints fans again. So, look, our faithful are out, and hopefully they're enjoying the brand of footy we're playing.
Now, you mentioned Jake King. He did get up, but we're all wrapped he didn't take it. You would never hurt the end of it.
With the push-up, yeah, that'll be one of the things. He doesn't hate the push-up. He loves taking hangers. So, look, I reckon it was hands in the back. I don't know how a small man can get up that high, but no doubt we'll see that in game review and have a bit of a chuckle about that.
Well done tonight.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, good stuff. There he is. Mr. Excitement, eh? Those batteries never run out. bet you he doesn't get to sleep on a Friday night when he plays. And for Damien Hardwick, it's a really good result. He'll be happy with that. I mean, it must have been a bit of a funny, shallow feeling last week when they won because they finished so poorly, didn't they?
It was all they won, they got the 4 points, but given that they had the 6-goal lead and just hung on by the 5 points, there was an element of, gee, we faded again. So this was a really big win for them tonight to keep going when they were under pressure.
Can they make the 8? I mean, they're 2-0. There's been a lot of talk about them. Can they make the 8 from what you've seen in the first 2 weeks?
Oh, without a doubt. They were so close last year, and you know, the form they've put up so far is really good. Very good chance to go 3-zip next week.
I was at both the games last year when they thrashed the Swans, and again they thrashed Hawthorn by 10 goals each. So they're capable of playing a really good quality of footy. I think they've got to lift their tackling effort because they're a really mediocre tackling team.
Well, Lee, you've talked about, and Tom, about that youngish midfield. Well, one of the guns is Dustin Martin-Richo.
Yeah, Dusty, started off on fire tonight, your first quarter, 11 disposals. You're feeling pretty good at the moment?
Yeah, mate, that's something that I wanted to do was try and get in the game early, and yeah, I guess I did that.
You certainly did. We're talking about Reece Conker with Trent Cotchin. He really took another step tonight, didn't he?
Yeah, Reece is really improving. He's starting to turn into a really good player.
And the big fella in the middle, Big Ivvy's 100th game tonight. Nice for him to kick the goal, but how important's he been for the club since he came over from Adelaide?
Oh, he's been massive to have a good ruckman and get first use. We said before the game we wanted to win it for Big Ivy on his milestone, so it's great that we could do that.
You certainly have, mate. You better go give that footy to a young kid. Well done, Dustin.
Thanks, Richo. Good start. There is Ivy, as they call him. Navan Marriage, what a great guy he is for this footy club. He's the sort of bloke they just love playing with, don't they?
Yeah, no, he's just, you can see just what he gives the team. But what Richmond have done, they've got wins over 2 of their finals rivals. I mean, both Carlton and St Kilda started the year hopeful of playing finals, and Richmond have actually got one up on both of those rivals.
They're a club that's clearly building on the field, but off the field it looks like they're heading in the right direction. They've got a really strong CEO, the president, the captain of the club, the coach. As an observer looking in, you say they all sing from the same hymn book, and they've got the foundations of not just a strong football team, but an extremely strong football club.
One thing we know for sure, they've got amazing support, haven't they? I mean, they can draw a crowd like, I know Collingwood probably a number 1 and that Essendon maybe not far behind, but this club can draw a crowd, and you feel like if they can really get on a roll, we're in for an exciting time with them, aren't we?
Well, that was really interesting there, Trent Cotchin. He's only 22 years old, and he's just ushering the boys off the field. Like, they're getting absolutely admired by their faithful. They said, guys, we're 2-0. We've got the Bulldogs next week. Let's just keep a lid on this. Enjoy the win, absolutely. But, geez, he's impressive.
He's a great example of the man at 20, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a man at a very young age. Some players are still boys at 30, but he's a very mature young man.
You feel like, I mean, you know, I say a bossy type. You feel like he's going to be a great captain, don't you?
Yeah, he thrives on it. He wants to do it. It's not a load on his shoulders. He's just a natural leader and a very composed, mature young guy.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Damien thinks about the fact that Jack kicks 7. I mean, we've joked a bit about it tonight, but he'll want a bigger contribution from the other forwards. You're going to talk to him shortly, guys, aren't you?
And last week, he was just he played his role within the structure, so he got plenty of plaudits from the coach. Didn't kick the goals, but got the plaudits from the coach. That's what's got to happen.
And tonight, you know, McGuan with a couple, and then Vickery got the 1 and then went off. But look, they're 2-0. They haven't been there for 16 long years. They'll sing this with a bit of gusto tonight. So the new boy, the new Tiger in the middle there, Ricky Pettard. He played his role. Jack with his 7. So much more to come on Friday night footy. It was Richmond in the end by 17 points over the Saints, and they're 2-0 for the first time in such a long time. And right now they're on top of the table.